Okay, we're back. Curiosity Cast, episode 13, L2L Q&A edition with Arjun, who's been freaking dominating, man. Started around 240 body weight, under 210, and you were talking about the positive benefits. How's that experience been, losing 30 pounds in high school and getting stronger like you've been? Let's go.
Yeah, so I mean, it's one thing like I started off losing 10. We had a goal to get to 220. And even looking at the outlines, the goals were it was 220, we stop there, we get the weight back up. But like when you start losing that amount of fat, you look at yourself in the mirror. You look at pictures on the phone, put them side to side, you're like, I want to lose more. I want to keep getting better. There's no negatives to it. So I think like anybody who has a good amount of fat on them, I would strive to lose it because you feel so much better, you look better, you make yourself happier, your mind is like positive. It's always you're thinking great about yourself. So I mean, and you're not losing any strength. So
Yeah, talk about that. Talk about how training's been, because you're coming back from a torn ACL from last season.
yeah, so I got ACL surgery down in October 29th. I'm around 8 to 9 months out, and I really realized like almost halfway through, I was like, if I come back eating same way I did, training the same way I did, I'm gonna end up in the same situation I started off as. So I really look to change my nutrition because that's one big thing. Like it's a big topic nowadays. It's there's so many trends out there. There's so many ideas out there in the nutrition world. And I knew Jack. I knew him. He played where I played high school football. So I knew I had a good connection with him. I looked at a lot of his stuff. I loved it. My parents always encouraged to eat clean, and I loved it. And coming back now, like my bench is what my body weight is. I never was able to do that. I bench more than I was at 240. My all my strength is back where it was when was in the middle of the season grinding through lifts. I'm squatting more than I was. Running faster than I was. Steps are at an all-time high now. And I feel like the biggest thing if people ask like how to lose weight, you can have all your meal down, but you got to be active. You can't sit at your desk the whole day and do one thing. 5, 6, 8,000 steps, it's not getting you anywhere. You got to be 10 to 12 and above.
Man, that's the sweet spot, and I can't tell you how many people I was telling a client that today.
Yeah.
It was like hitting a kind of plateau, and it's just like, man, eating good, but activity is a massive portion of fat loss. You're looking at, right, your metabolism or how you burn
Hmm.
body fat, and there's different aspects of it, right?
Yep.
There's something called thermic effect of food, TEF. That's a portion, maybe 5 to 10% of what you're burning. Then you've got exercise activity thermogenesis. We'd call that EAT, EAT. And that's another, 10 to 15%. And then you've got NEAT, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And for people with steps, I like to think of it almost as 1,000 steps equals 1% of a metabolism.
Hmm.
So if you're talking, like in this comes, Stan Efferding talks a lot about this. And then you've got your BMR, basal metabolic rate. So these are your
Hmm.
four parts of your metabolism, right? Your
Yeah.
exercise, your thermic effect of food, your non-exercise activity, and then your metabolic rate. And obviously, through food, we want to increase the metabolic rate through improving
Yep.
hormones, sleep. But the non exercise activity thermogenesis is a way you can burn calories, but you're not super stressed. Your body's not super stressed, meaning you're not super sore the next day from hitting a 12,000 day step, right? You
Yeah.
hit 12K steps, you feel fine the next day. You're not all beat up compared to if you did, 6 mile run every day to try to burn calories.
You're gonna be
You
pretty
might
beat up.
you're going to be
Yeah.
beat up. You might not be able to maintain that, or if you
Hmm.
do, you might get kind of chronic injuries if you're not trained up to it. You've got to work your way up to it, just like lifting.
Yeah.
So I think that's a massive thing, man. It is the people who I work with, um, who lose 20, 30, 50, 70 pounds. Step count is always over 10,000. It's
Yeah.
typically 12,000. And if you're hitting 15, that's when you're burning. So that's what
You're
you've been
taking it
doing
to the
too.
next level. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And it's really a low, and I think a lot of it has to do with being outdoors too. It's
Hmm.
just very helpful. It's low stress. It's relaxing to be out in nature, for anybody, whether you're an
Yeah.
athlete or not. really beneficial. And a lot of times for athletes and for even high school athletes like yourself, guys can be a little stressed out. You're on your phone a lot. You're at
Yeah.
school. You're thinking about grades. You're thinking about college. You're thinking about this internship,
You got a lot
this
going on.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes just taking a walk, getting outside, not only is going
Yeah.
to help you be healthier, but it's going to
Hmm.
help you feel better. And that's a
Yeah.
massive part of being healthy and performing
Yeah.
well, is feeling good.
And I know you said, I think we said in the last video we did, but you have to let yourself think for yourself. You can't allow, you have so many things around you. You're going to have a bunch of videos. You're going to have training the next day. You got so many things going on in your day that you can't let yourself think. You can't let your brain think. So I think a big thing, I know I just finished up finals, but each day, I think even during finals week, I was above 12K steps a day. And that's including me sitting down for 4 hours and studying each day. So it's honestly, yeah, you got to be able to push through. It's not going to be the easiest thing to get 12K steps, but you have to have that mindset of it's going to benefit you a lot. And that's the only way you're going to accelerate. That's one of the best ways you're going to accelerate your fat loss or the goal you're trying to achieve. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're not having to decrease food a lot,
Hmm.
right? A lot of times people want to lose fat. And maybe a lot of people have seen you lose weight and they're like, "Are you just
Yeah.
not eating?"
No.
But you
Yeah.
you are
I
eating.
am.
You're eating a good
I
amount
think
of food.
3,200 calories a day almost.
Yeah, which is really good for being in a deficit and losing
Hmm.
30 pounds, eating over 3,000 calories, and just continually. And we've actually been starting to actually bump that up, and weight's still coming down,
Yeah.
which is really positive, meaning you're losing weight. And when you're able to do that, when you're losing weight and you're able to eat a lot of food and you're able to stay active and your strength numbers are going up, now we know you're keeping on muscle mass,
Yeah.
right? When you're going down and you have to pull food really low and you're really tired and you're really weak, muscle mass can be lost. And that's
Yeah.
sometimes what people think, oh, lose weight, lose strength. I'm going to be bad at football. I can't lose weight.
Yeah.
But this is basically like a recomp. And even athletes after NFL season do this. The linemen who play at 320, big
Yeah.
dudes who I know, they cut down after the season. A lot of them will cut down under 300, lose
Hmm.
15, 20, 30 pounds, kind of
Yeah.
clear out the system, feel better, and then slowly add some muscle and get back to their playing weight by camp.
Sure.
But that's a normal thing to
Hmm.
do for athletes, especially guys who it's sometimes tough to be that heavy. Have you noticed,
Hmm.
for your joints and stuff, how's your body been feeling being a little bit lighter? I
It's
know we're gonna put weight back on, but
Yeah. So I mean, like of course I do therapy. I do sauna sessions, I do red light. So of course it's adding on to me recovering a little faster. But in general, like after a leg day, I'm not that sore. After PT, I'm not that sore. Um, I know I'll be asked like in PT, it'll be, were you sore after the day we did PT? It's usually never. I can go to agility right the day after. So I think yeah, a big thing is you're able to move a lot better. So when you're heavy, your body doesn't want to like you don't want to be obese. It's not a common thing. I think some people are like, "Oh, this is just how I like grew up. So now my body wants to adapt to this way," but your body doesn't want to adapt. Your body wants to be low in body fat, and you will realize when you are losing weight, you'll be able to move a lot easier. You're gonna feel even your heart rate like while you're running. It's a lot. You're not gasping for air.
yeah. How about mentally? You've built a lot of discipline, and I want to show your weight
Hmm.
chart if that's okay with you,
Yeah.
to
Okay.
just kind of show as people. But
Hmm.
I'm just to see kind of like the rate of loss because I think a lot of people are like, how does this happen? They're going to see a picture on Instagram in a few
Yeah.
weeks of Arjun, who looks like a different human and has gotten stronger and faster. And like, how did this happen? But look, it's
Yeah.
progression, right?
It
Initially,
is. Yeah.
you cleaned up the diet, stopped eating,
Hmm.
Uncrustables and protein bars all the time,
Yep.
and weight came off pretty quick. What you'll notice too for people watching is temperature. Temperature is a really
Yeah.
big thing for the metabolism. And I remember initially I
Hmm.
was like 96, and sometimes we want 97.8 and above
Yeah.
ideally. It depends on the thermometer, but it's went up, right? It
Hmm.
started out a little
Yeah.
bit lower. Weekly averages were below ideal, and his weight came off, his steps went up, and as you're to see, sleep has been fantastic.
Yeah.
And this is
Sleep, I
something I
don't
like.
think
Yeah,
there's not been a single day that I was like under. I think I've had one or two 6 hours and 40 minutes. So
yeah, man.
yeah.
And slowly temperatures started to rise up from being in the low 97s to
Yep.
now consistently 98 in an ideal range. Step count, consistently over 10, oftentimes over 12, oftentimes hitting 13 plus. Sleep's
16.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
16K today.
16. Like that's fantastic,
We'll get
man.
up to 16 today. Don't worry. I'm already at 12.
Let's go. That's see,
Yes, sir.
and that's what people like. That's what you're to see. Somebody watching started out
Yeah.
238.9 today, 208.4. Right, step counts high. Resting heart rates went down a little bit.
Hmm.
Temperatures went up. Sleep's been high. Like, and this is just the consistent rate of loss. And really since about like 220-ish, we've increased food slowly. So the
Yeah.
food's been coming up and weight's been still coming down.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
and you're
I'm
just
having more like, of course, like I don't eat ice cream every night. I know you have it in the plan, but I do end up substituting, like I'm not eating ice cream every night. I end up getting more Parmesan cheese in my eggs maybe,
yeah. Yep.
or I end up having a little more simple carbs
Yeah. That
but I'm still hitting all the goals, but I'm at 3,300, 3,200 calories and I'm losing weight, which I was probably eating less calories before I started at 240. And I think, yeah, like you said, the big misunderstanding is what are you going to do if you go in a calorie deficit? You pull calories to 2,000. Now you want to lose another 10 pounds. What are you going to pull it to 1,000?
yep.
Like your body's not going to be able to fuel off that.
100, yeah. And initially, yeah, your food was has always been around 3,000, maybe a little
Hmm.
bit lower, but it's coming up, which is cool.
Yeah.
And and yeah, you're able to eat what you enjoy. And as you heard,
Yeah.
ice cream's on the plan every day. So if you wanted to
Yeah.
have ice cream every day and lose weight, you'd be
It
doing that.
definitely could.
So
Yeah.
yeah, which is pretty fun. That was I was just on the phone while I was a little late for doing this.
Mhm.
Was we were
Yeah.
adjusting a meal plan and I was putting in a milkshake. It was a strawberry milkshake with fat-free milk, and it's gonna be called the Will for my client Will. But it's crazy how when you're eating good food, man, things can change for the
Hmm.
better. And you got the Mexican Coke. I got my coffee. We're freaking
Oh yeah.
dialed in, man.
Coffee every
How's
day. Yeah.
how's it been discipline like I know we talk about mindset, but just because initially it was hard. Like you'd be
Yeah.
messaging me like it's fucking hard to hit these step counts, and I was like, I
Yeah.
know you got to
It's
be
not, no,
intentional
it's
about
definitely
it.
not easy at first. Like, so I feel like a big part at first was like, honestly, you'd get out there and you just, you don't have anything to tell you. Like, I knew my goal was 220 at that time. So, but I still was like, I don't know, I can stop now and then I'll hit them later, and then that later would never come through. So it was really about me telling myself, like, every week I'm having more and more improvement. Do I want to eventually reach an elite level? Yes, right? So I wanted to reach that elite level. This is where I told myself, okay, 10,000 is not gonna, I know you told me at 1.2, you're hitting 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. I was like, okay, 10,000 is not gonna cut it for me. I if I want to get down to this 208, 205 level, I'm gonna have to put steps up. So I told myself, like, okay, I'll go for an extra walk. I'll go for extra 2, 3 walks a day. I put on a podcast now, Kate Deering. I listen to a lot of podcasts she's on, and doing something you like while you're walking. But now walking's turned into the thing I like. So I can go out there. I'll probably go out at 10:30 tonight and walk. So it's more about me telling myself that I want to reach this level and I'm not going to reach that level if I don't do this. So that's where it really came down for me. I was like, I don't want to pull food low. I'm all my strength is increasing. So why should we pull I don't want to lose any muscle at this time. I'll just get my steps up. I know I'm going to feel better. So I ended up doing it pretty easily too.
Yeah, man, you've been smoking it. And really what's important to note if you're listening is walking, what we're doing is habit stacking, right? And this
Hmm.
is kind of what you can do a lot of times if you're doing something that's maybe new for you, is stacking habits together. So not only walking, but then listening to a podcast. Or for me, I like to listen to ebooks, especially books that are
Yeah.
maybe in depth. So I'm reading them, and
Hmm.
then ebook is just
Yeah.
like helping me if it's more medical literature, which is a little tougher to digest
Yeah.
upon first read. Um, and same thing goes maybe if people talk about a commute. Oh my gosh, I got to go somewhere. stack that with an ebook or something of learning.
Hmm.
Same
Yeah.
with cooking. Oh my gosh, cooking takes so much time, but there's been this book I wanted to read. I'm going to listen to this or podcast. So you
Yeah.
can kind of double down on those, which is really good. But you've
And I'll
been,
give you
go ahead.
I'll give you one example. So I go to PT and I go to tutor. I used to go tutoring throughout the school year. I'd leave the house early. I'd have my dad leave around 30 minutes early. I'd get dropped off a mile and a half away from it. I'd walk there. When I was done, I'd have him park a lot at another parking lot around a mile away. So there's 5,000 steps for you. Simple. I finish what I have to do. I knew that I had to go home, eat dinner, study a little more. So I knew I had to get those steps in somewhere because I was at 8,000 at that time. So I was like, okay, let's park some. And what would I be doing at that other 30 minutes that I'm walking? Probably on my phone. So it's trading off. Like I knew that it was going to benefit me a lot. I was going to get to 13K that day, maybe. So yeah, it's about really swapping those things out in your life.
Yeah, and last thing on this, what you're going to notice with really high level people, all right, there's always genetic anomalies who can really do stuff without working really hard. But what you're really going to see is people who really hit their goals work their ass off and they put in more effort, more hard work over a longer period of time than people who don't. Some people
Hmm.
might do something, they might walk a lot for a week or two and fall off. They might eat healthy for a week or two and fall off.
Yeah,
But doing it consistently, day to day, not doing it just because you want to
for
post on
sure.
social media to be, oh, I'm
Hmm.
walking a PT. No, I never knew about that. You just are doing it. You're choosing to
For
make
sure.
a hard decision that's a little bit inconvenient or deemed inconvenient by other people, and you're making that a normal thing. And what that's leading for you is yielding insanely great results, not only mentally, right? You're
Hmm.
becoming a more resilient, tougher, determined man,
Yeah.
but you're also becoming leaner. You're becoming a better football player this season. So there's leads to so
Yeah.
many things, but we have to do, right? Same with training, pushing yourself in lifting or on field work or PT, right? To be the
Hmm.
best athlete, to be the best you want to be in whatever endeavor you want to do, you've got to really commit to yourself, not listen too much to the outside or what's the best routine. You know it's the best.
Yeah.
And it's typically doing the thing that's kind of the hard thing that you almost don't want to do. And
Hmm.
then pushing yourself to do it over and over
Yeah.
again and remembering why and having a purpose behind it. And that's what you're doing. So kudos to you. I freaking love it.
Thank you.
Um,
Yeah.
let's dive in now. You want to dive into some questions?
Yeah. So I know a lot of people wonder, this is not going to be just for athletes. It's going to be for almost a lot of people. What are you trying to prioritize in each meal? So you're having, let's say, 3 to 4 like foods, let's say. What do you want to prioritize?
In throughout the day, what I want to prioritize is meals that are filling, that are nutrient dense, meaning
Hmm.
macronutrient dense,
Yeah.
micronutrient dense, and then depending on the person. So, as an example, for somebody maybe who is an athlete, right? You'd want to be having, I think the more frequent meals, the better. Now,
Yeah.
people hear that, and I really think eating windows, it doesn't have to all be massive meals.
Hmm.
So, a lot of times, why we want to spread meals out again is the thermic effect of food. And then if we can get a walk after non-exercise activity thermogenesis, and
Yep.
then if we're fueling the liver consistently, we're now keeping the hormones that dictate our metabolism, the BMR, we're dictating those and helping those stay in proper levels, meaning we're keeping cortisol low, adrenaline low, testosterone high in men, and estrogen moderate slash low. So in meals, I'd like to think about having well balanced meals for the
Yeah.
general people, right? Which looks like typically, depending on digestion levels, you want to have quality carbohydrates in there. Maybe that's 50 to 60% of your meal. You can kind of split that, usually at least half starchy carbohydrate, half
Hmm.
simple, meaning maybe
Yeah.
like starches. An example would be, again, starches are dependent on digestion. Some people have such slow metabolisms or struggle with health that starches don't really work for them. And
Yeah.
I've had people like that where you have to do no starch diet for a few months and then they come back to
Yeah.
it and feel great.
For
But
me, I knew starches worked. So we put them in
yeah, you did
breakfast,
them.
we put them in lunch, we put them in dinner.
Yeah.
And
So
yeah.
you have starches in there, say a potato, a rice, an oat bran, a good sourdough, a good masa, harina, tortilla,
Yeah.
etc. You have a good starch, right? That's kind of your base for your meal. You've got a nice protein source. I like sticking with a leaner protein option, and I like having a
Hmm.
variety of protein. So you can do
Yeah.
eggs, egg whites, low fat milk, low fat yogurt,
Cottage cheese.
cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah, cottage cheese, Parmesan cheese. You can also do lean cuts of red meat.
Yep.
Um, You can do lean white fish, you can do shellfish, you can do organ meat like a liver, heart, kidney. So you can kind of a mixture of a lot of different protein sources.
Yeah.
And I would say to have, protein, carbohydrate with each meal. And then you can always have a fruit or vegetable with those.
Yeah.
The vegetables, again, we like to be having, I like more tropical fruit, citrus fruit. The fruit, without the skin, those tend to just
Yeah.
digest very easily.
Some
So,
pineapple, mango.
mhm.
Yeah. Those are some two
Watermelon,
probably one of the
cantaloupe,
best. Yep.
papaya, banana that's ripe. Things of those sorts are great.
Yeah.
Honey, maple syrup, orange juice, many of the juices,
Yes,
applesauce.
sir.
So all those. So like how I build an ideal meal for an average person is probably 4 to 6 ounces of lean protein,
Hmm.
meat of some sort, or fish, or eggs, or egg whites, or whatever like that. Like a nice portion of maybe
Yeah.
30 to 50 grams of protein, maybe 30 to 50 grams of carbs from some potato, and maybe like an apple on the side, maybe
Yeah.
some. And then for vegetables, we want to just be cautious of things that digest and
Yeah.
making sure they're well cooked
Raw
if we're having,
carrots. Let's
yeah, raw carrots are
take that.
great,
Yeah.
mushrooms that are boiled, and then added fats, you want to be cautious. I think a lot of people overdo fats.
Yeah.
So being cautious of fat intake, maybe a little bit of coconut oil, maybe a little bit of butter, maybe a little bit of avocado, olive oil, but you don't have to have a ton of fat. I think
Hmm.
that's tends to be overdone, and typically fats are in combination with your protein. So if you're having a steak or an egg or a milk, there's typically some type of fat in there. And then tracking your food, you can see kind of how much you need and how your weight's responding. So that'd be
Hmm.
generally how I'd set up a meal.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people can easily make that change. So if you're eating a lunch, for example, I know instead of maybe a chicken thigh, you're taking a little bit of chicken tenderloin, chicken breast. Um, you're not losing any of the foods you love.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I think that's
that's a big thing. And having things that are filling, if you're trying to lose weight,
yeah.
potatoes are going to be more filling than rice. Oat
Hmm.
bran in the morning will be more filling than sourdough.
Yeah.
Eggs with egg whites will be more filling than maybe just drinking milk. So kind of having an understanding that your body, right, your digestive tract typically, and this is from Kate's book, Better Energy, she talks about how your stomach can really hold about a liter
Yeah.
of overall volume until it feels and signals fullness, which would be the leptin hormone. So you
Yeah.
want to have a decent amount of volume, which is why it's good to use like a raw carrot or a cooked mushroom or some fruit that's solid volume or some potato.
Yep.
So then you're going to get plenty of things in there. So you feel full and it will be nutrient dense, but enough calories to help your metabolism, but not be too high
Yeah.
to store body fat.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that's you said it perfectly, like how Kate said it. Like you want to keep your stomach full. You want to also give your palate something, a different variety. You
Hmm.
don't want to just eat chicken and rice or shrimp and rice for lunch. You want to give yourself some juice on the side, maybe a Mexican Coke, maybe some milk. So yeah, I think you stated it perfectly. And that kind of leads us into the meals again. It's about meal timing. How how important is that going into fat loss or let's say just trying to become more healthy?
Yeah, it depends on the individual. Meal
Hmm.
timing around training, around exercise is going to be important because when you're training, you're using glucose
Yep.
for energy and glucose and sugar, carbohydrates, they're stored in the muscle and they're stored within the liver. And why this is really important for meal timing is your liver can only hold about 8 hours worth of glycogen. So one, the first time it would be important to have carbohydrates would be upon waking. If you're sleeping for eight
Hmm.
hours, that cortisol spike is waking you up. And the cortisol spike is because your liver is out of glycogen. So you need to
Yeah.
refill that in the morning. So if you're doing low carb in the morning, you're going to be a stress state. And then you're going
Yeah.
to be high adrenaline. And then your adrenals going to get tapped. And I'm speaking from experience. I did this for a long
Yeah.
time. I've got tumors on my freaking adrenal glands from
Yeah.
being in such a high stress state all the time. And then you deal with so many other issues.
Yeah.
So in the morning, you want to have carbohydrates. This is why people love the sourdough and orange juice combo. Like all of
Yeah.
my guys, I call
You
it the
want a
booze special.
big
Um,
breakfast in the morning. I think that's a big thing.
yeah,
Like you want to feel your body.
your three most important meals are going to be breakfast, before training, and after training.
Hmm.
So meal timing during those times, you want higher carbohydrates. In the morning, if you're not training, you can have kind of moderate fat, 2 to 3 eggs, nothing
Yeah.
crazy. But then pre and post training, those are going to be huge times
Mhm.
for
Oh yeah.
meals. And then before you go to bed, it's going to be important that you consume. I just made a video about this:
Late night
calcium, sugar,
snacks. Yeah.
salt. Yeah, because again, you want to refill your liver glycogen before you go to bed and when you wake up. And then during those eight
Yeah.
hours, your liver is not excreting stress hormones. Your kidneys are
Hmm.
not excreting adrenaline. So now you can sleep throughout the night.
Yep.
Cortisol, adrenaline, glucagon are low. You can sleep well. It doesn't have to be a massive meal before bed. You kind of want
Yeah.
it on maybe on the smaller end, so you can
500
sleep.
calories for like a bigger
Yeah, three to
person.
five hundred.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. You don't have to. Some people even have less, like two dates and some
Yeah.
milk and a
Hmm.
little bit of salt. But it varies person to person because you want to be able to fall asleep.
Yeah.
But pre-bed snack is just super helpful. And then just having meals throughout the day. So many people skip. So many people maybe, if I had to make an adjustment, right, add in a little breakfast, a yogurt bowl, some fruit,
Hmm.
but don't wait till the end of the day to backload all your calories.
Yeah.
Because if you eat the same amount of calories with two meals compared to five meals, you will struggle with burning body fat much more with the less meals.
For
Okay, it's
sure.
it's
Yeah.
stimulating your metabolism much less, and you're having less thermic effect of food, less times burning. So those would be some main adjustments.
Yeah. And that kind of takes us into, intermittent fasting. A lot of people are the one meal a day, OMAD. So I don't know if you've tried it, but I know a lot of people I know have tried it. It doesn't work. Like you get skinny, but you don't get stronger. You feel horrible. Your stress is going to be an all-time high. You're probably not going to be the most active you ever were. So I think going into intermittent fasting, that's what we talked about. You don't want to plummet all your calories right before bed. I don't know why you would want to do that.
Well, the theory behind intermittent fasting is right, like you can lose weight, and
Yeah.
what you're going to be doing is you're going to be in a high stress state because you don't have a lot of carbohydrates. So you're going to wake up, you're going to be fasting, you're going to be adrenals going to be pumping adrenaline.
Hmm.
You're eventually going to get adrenal fatigue, you're going to get migraines, but initially you're going to lose some weight. You're eating less food. It's
Yeah.
just it's plain you're eating less food. It's a restrictive diet, and how you're restricting yourself, just like anything else, is reducing the time window.
Yeah.
So it requires a little bit less discipline in a sense because you're just not eating. So if you turn your brain
Yeah.
off and just be like, oh, I'm eating later in the day and I can eat a lot, it takes actually a lot of discipline to eat 5 to 6 meals a day and
It
have
does.
moderate portions and not have a
Hmm.
massive meal, but have a meal and then 2.5 hours, another meal and another meal. But that's how the best athletes, best bodybuilders, that's how people do it. And a lot of people
Yeah.
who do intermittent fasting, I'll tell you straight up, who are online and do a lot
Yeah.
of these fasting things, they are using performance enhancing drugs. Okay.
Yeah.
So they maintain a lot of muscle mass to do these.
Hmm.
There's a lot of people online who are telling you diet advice are using uh, drugs to then look a certain way to then sell you a certain thing.
Yeah.
Now, for intermittent fasting as well, I've done it. So I've done it for months on end. I did intermittent fasting.
Hmm.
I also did OMAD, one meal a day. I also did intermittent fasting plus a Sunday full day fast. So I wouldn't eat for all
Yeah.
of Sunday. So I've
Wow.
tried, I've done carnivore, keto,
Yeah,
vegetarian
you've done
now.
everything. I know you, yeah, you've
So I
tried
like
a
to
lot of
try these
things.
things to just see kind
Yeah.
of what the response is for the body, or I
And
did
you're doing
them before then.
vegetarian right now, right?
Yeah, I'm 6 weeks
With
into that.
yeah. And I know I do just because of religious reasons. We're vegetarian on Monday.
Yeah.
And I feel the same. I don't feel any different. So I was actually gonna even talk to Jack about this later about me doing vegetarian for a week because
Yeah.
I don't mind it. Like it's easy. It's not hard. I like milk. I like dairy. Dairy's really good for you.
Mhm.
It's one of the best. Kate Deering is a really big influencer about how you can go vegetarian besides eggs. I know eggs are some people they're
Are they? I've been eating eggs. I thought that's not. Uh, is that vegetarian or not? I don't know.
for us we don't consider it no, vegetarian is strictly like only dairy, only yeah, so eggs fall into the meat, but I'd consider it to be vegetarian.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
What was I going on a tangent about before? I forget.
Um
That's okay. I was
we were
talking about
the carnivore keto, yeah.
carnivore, OMAD,
Yeah.
intermittent fasting. So I have a lot of clients. This is what I wanted to say. I have a lot of,
Hmm.
I'm going to pull up one right now. And I have
Yeah.
another one. I don't think he's ready to post his before and after, but it's going to be fucking sick.
Hmm.
Um, Epic transformation coming. But I
For
have a lot
sure.
of guys who went from intermittent fasting till very lean, and they
Yeah.
come to me and they're eating not a lot of food.
No.
And I increase their food, increase their carbs, and they're like, "Holy cow, I don't know if I would be able to do this." And then they're
Yeah.
almost so full they can't finish the food, and then they're losing weight.
Hmm.
And then it's
Yeah.
just like, what in the heck? So it has a crazy effect on the body.
Yeah.
I'll show you a few people
Yeah.
on my Instagram right now if I can share my screen. Let's see here.
There we
So a
go.
lot of guys. It's a very common thing because, right, if you're working all day, you're at school all day, I'm just not going to eat. And then I'll eat, have when I have
Yeah.
dinner, and then I'll eat a snack before bed. I'll be straight. Or maybe I'll eat before my workout at 6
Yeah.
p.m. and I'll eat dinner after. Like Rich, he was doing intermittent
Hmm.
fasting. He was doing kind of vegetarian, vegan.
Yeah.
He transformed. Uh, he's done a
It's
freaking great
insane.
job.
Yeah.
And he lost a little bit of weight, like 13 pounds.
Oh
His
yeah.
he's gonna have
But you
another
could
before
see
and
the
after coming. Oh yeah,
big
go ahead.
difference even after just the 13 pounds, like
Yeah,
just looking
the
at those
muscle.
before and after. Yeah, muscle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the serious muscle came in, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Um, and then another one I have is Evan. So Evan lost
Hmm.
40 pounds. He got
Yeah.
down like 190. And as you can see, he kept muscle on. Okay. He kept
Yeah.
muscle. Look at his legs. Like there's no muscle
For
lost here.
sure. Yeah.
Arms, shoulders are rounder, and all the fat got cut off right
It
here.
did.
But he's like took
Yeah.
scissors and just choop.
It literally.
And
Yeah.
and Evan was also, he came to me. He was eating, like I said, in here under 2,000 calories a day at 230. There's a
Yeah.
lot of people like this. They maybe start at
Hmm.
300, they get to 250, get stuck, and they're stuck too low of calories. Their body's stressed out. Cortisol is now increasing. Other stress hormones are holding a lot of
Yeah.
body fat. So really, I would say if you're going to reintroduce food and step out of intermittent fasting and feel like it's
Hmm.
not working for you, and it can't, sometimes it doesn't work for people too because training performance
Yeah.
drops and now you lose muscle because you can't train hard and you can't train hard because you don't eat that much food.
Yeah.
And it's kind of that cycle. And you can't always get stuck too. This is the last thing on this is you can't always get stuck at looking at the scale. I remember even
No, you
initially I was
can't.
talking to you
Yeah.
and like the scale is going up and down. Like don't stress about it because
No.
the
Yeah.
scale is not always indicative of body fat. Body fat and the scale are different. This is why I like checking
Completely
pictures every
different.
single week
Yeah.
because you can have if you don't take a dump in the morning, if you're a little bloated, if you're holding a little bit of water
Hmm.
from that little extra salt that you had because you worked out and you had extra salt in your dinner,
Yep.
if you're didn't sleep that well, there's so many factors that can impact your body weight. So if you're only focused
Yeah.
about just dropping the scale every single day, you
It's
can drop your food too quickly.
exactly. I think you said it perfectly with that scale part is don't obsess over the scale. It's the biggest like it's such a big misconception. Fat loss, weight loss. They're two complete different things. Fat loss goes with weight loss, but weight loss doesn't always go with fat loss. So
Correct.
you can lose a bunch of fat, and of course, you're going to drop weight a little bit, but you can drop a bunch of weight, and you might not see the difference that quickly. The scale might show a big difference, but you're probably going to be weaker. You're not going to be happy looking yourself in the mirror just because a scale says you're 210 when you started off at 240.
Yeah, you don't want to lose weight and look deflated. And this is what a lot of
Yeah.
people who use the GLPs and such, not everyone, but some people who use it, don't eat enough and don't
Hmm.
train and don't stay active. So they're losing mass, but they're losing bone mass, muscle mass, and fat mass. And then it
Yeah.
kind of looks like just a freaking deflated balloon. And rather, you want to have enough carbohydrates when you're training. I think of you're losing weight. Okay, I want to lose body
Yeah.
fat. So I want to have my muscle stay relatively full. And this is why we carb cycle, because the muscle glycogen will come down
Yeah.
on lower carb days, refill it. And as you're losing that body fat in between the skin and the muscle,
Hmm.
now it starts to come in. And then when you do the high day and you have more carbs, the muscle starts
Yeah.
pushing into the skin. So then you
That's
can keep your skin tight and you have less loose
hmm
skin than just depleting, depleting, depleting.
yeah.
And that's huge.
And that honestly, I you started talking about loose skin, and I wanted to kind of get into that. It's a big thing of people who lose 100, 200 pounds. They have a ton of loose skin. It turns into surgery. It turns into um, going through a bunch of these procedures. And even if you lose 50 pounds, you can have a ton of loose skin. So I kind of want to, touch on that about how can people avoid it? How can people, um, just prioritize not having that loose skin. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a big part about fat loss. There's a few, it's gonna take me a few minutes to kind of
No, you're
explain
good.
this step by
Yeah.
step. So everything right in the human body and health is related. I always try to say this. So, right, loose skin tends to be from overweight, and you can technically be overweight with too much muscle, like a
Yeah.
bodybuilder. For natural people, it's tough to do that. But I'm sitting with loose, a little bit of loose skin, like on my
Hmm.
kind of armpit area or lower belly. There's still a little bit because I used to be whatever 80 plus pounds heavier.
Yeah.
So when your body grows really quickly, you've got a higher chance of having loose skin. So if you're somebody trying to
Hmm.
gain weight and you want to avoid loose skin, you don't want to gain weight too fast
Yeah.
because if you're somebody like me and you put on 60 pounds in a year, there's a good chance your skin can't keep growing at the same rate that you're putting
No,
on
damn.
weight.
Yeah.
And what you also want to be mindful of with loose skin is overeating. If you
Yeah.
overeat and you're stretching your stomach and you're eating more than you know you should be eating, but you're just doing it because of mouth pleasure or you're right, you're just like, oh, I just want good
Cravings,
tasting
yeah.
food. Cravings, yeah. And typically cravings are coming from if you don't have enough actual healthy sugar in the diet, you need more
Hmm.
fruit if you're craving sugar. If
Yeah.
you don't have enough salt on your food, you need more salt on your food rather than just caving to unhealthy cravings.
Yeah, and we'll
Utilize
touch
those
base on
cravings.
sugar after, I think, after this, because it's also a big topic, and people are like, no sugar, no sugar, no sugar, no
Yeah, but
sugar.
let me get back to the skin.
Yeah, let's get back to
So
this.
that's really important to understand is um, the food you're taking in, how it impacts your stomach, right? The more your stomach is stretching and not stretching. So if you're going from periods of overeating to undereating, guess what?
Hmm.
Now you're stretching a rubber band over and over and
Yeah.
over again, and that's taking wear and tear on your skin. So that's something to be conscious of. Losing weight, you don't want to lose it too fast either because your skin has to come back. If
Yeah.
you're not weight training, and you're losing weight, guess what? Now you could probably be losing muscle mass, or you
Yep.
can even sometimes grow muscle mass in a cut if you're improving your hormone profile, which is a whole nother story. But so those are important things to understand. Aside from that, skin, your thyroid is completely very much related to your skin. So low
Yep.
thyroid function, high TSH, low body
Hmm.
temperature, low heart rate, low free T3, maybe high free T4. T4 can vary in high reverse T3. These are all symptoms. High cholesterol, all symptoms of
Yep.
poor thyroid function. And what that's going to lead to is you have poor tissue repair. And poor thyroid function is also going to lead to hair loss for men and for
Hmm.
women. Thyroid not only has so many roles in your body, right? Having a
Yeah.
high thyroid function is going to also create hydrochloric acid, HCl, in your stomach. It's going to allow you to
Hmm.
digest food. It's going to allow your testicular function to really work optimally for
Yep.
fertility. But thyroid function is key. Another aspect of skin is going to be estrogen. High estrogen is going to lead to collagen breakdown. So
Yep.
if you're somebody who tests in blood work and has high estradiol or uh, is holding weight around the nipples and fat, that means you have high estrogen. You're
Yep.
aromatizing part of your testosterone, and too much of it's going to estrogen. How you
Hmm.
reduce estrogen is a multitude of ways. Obviously, losing body fat is a good way to then stop the future conversion of testosterone to estrogen. But during
Hmm.
that process, you also want to be having food that can help. And that's why we have the raw
Yep.
carrot salad. And that's why we also have
The mushrooms.
white button mushrooms in there. Aside from that, inflammation from polyunsaturated fatty acids, we would call
Yep.
that oxidative stress. And this is
Hmm.
also going to be deleterious for the skin health. So
Yeah.
that's going to impair structural tissue repair. I've got a whole little write up. I need to post this on Substack. But
Yeah.
aside from that, I have some few other notes on here. Is T3, which is your active thyroid hormone.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is why we want to reduce the estrogen within the liver. Is over 40% of our T4 to T3 gets converted in the liver. So as we improve our T3, our active thyroid hormone, just like we want high free testosterone, we want high
Hmm.
T3, free T3. And that's
Yeah.
going to increase collagen synthesis. It's going to increase cellular energy. It's going to help tissue remodeling. Now, estrogen dominance is going to increase MMP activity. And what this is, the matrix uh, metalloproteinases. Okay. And really, what these are, they're breakdown enzymes. So, the more
Yeah.
estrogen we have, the more enzymes we have that break down our skin and weaken connective tissue, also lead to joint issues. You're going to see typically, you're on a PT often.
Yeah.
Typically, a lot of these tears, right? Who has more tears, men or women athletes? I would say categorically, probably women. The
Woman.
amount of
Yeah.
ACLs and stuff is crazy because they have
Yeah.
higher estrogen. And many of
They
these
do.
women, I would like to see a test on them, but this is just something I'm thinking off the top of my head. I'd
Yeah.
like to see testing on women who are on birth control and how many injuries they have versus women off
Hmm.
birth control because birth control is estrogen based. So I would imagine women on birth control are having much more tissue injuries because of estrogen dominance, which is breaking
Yep.
down and increasing more MMP. So that's something to be conscious of. And the PUFAs, right? Eating polyunsaturated fatty acids, your canola
Hmm.
oil, your peanut butter, your almond butter, your all these different oils. Those are going to
Yeah.
interfere with repair and elasticity, and that inflammation blocks fibroblast activity. Okay, so all of these
Yep.
are going to cause a lot of issues within the body. So those would be some things, main takeaways. Prioritize reducing your estrogen,
Hmm.
prioritize improving your metabolism. How we've talked about that. Kate talks about that. You can
Yeah.
look into basically everything I talk about is how to improve metabolism.
Look at her book.
Um, yeah, how to heal your
Great caffeine.
metabolism. I've got the other one, better energy with me.
That one. Yeah.
Both of those are great too. Read into the work of Dr. Ray Peat as well.
Yeah.
Those would be some key things for skin.
Um, I think Anthony J, right? He wrote a book.
Yeah, Dr. Anthony
Um,
J, he wrote that in
yeah.
the estrogeneration, and that
Yeah.
talks about how there's a lot of estrogens within our environment,
Oh yeah.
which
Yep.
are, Febreze. Oh my gosh, that's an estrogen. Water supply, estrogen. Uh, most clothing, estrogen based.
Yep.
So you don't realize it, but then you're like, oh wait, why is breast cancer increased so much? Well, there's a lot of estrogen. Why is there
Yeah.
other cancers? Estrogen is carcinogenic. This has been known since
Yep.
the 1940s and before. So these are all things to keep in mind, to not freak out about, but to understand kind of some simple things you can do to start.
Yeah. And I think like a big thing like is people like look at it and they're like they say stop wearing polyester. And people are like, oh, that's just like they're gonna say that. It doesn't really have any effect if you stop wearing polyester. It does. It does have a big effect. It's these small things. You wanna reduce, you don't want to eat soy. That's probably gonna that also increases estrogen, correct?
Yeah, yeah, and this is something like this is a part of a conversation that it takes some maturity to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But the polyester clothing, I mean, I'll tell you, and I've had dozens of people tell me this, even non-clients just who see my content are like, I'll try out what
Yeah.
Jack's talking about. He seems like he's confident in what he's saying.
Yeah.
When you are not wearing polyester clothing on your genitals, you will have increased size and
Mm-hmm.
health and blood flow. So it is like that's it's clear as day. It's worked for so many people. Um, your testicles are meant to be 2 degrees colder than your body.
Yeah.
They're
Mm-hmm.
hanging off your body for a reason. And this is like a real conversation for men. So
Yeah.
compressing them all the time is going to reduce your testosterone. It's going to reduce your fertility. It can even lead to testicular cancer. So that's something to really to keep in mind for men,
Mm-hmm.
and also to be careful of where your phone is.
Yeah.
You're getting radiation, typically the phone pocket. And I was speaking from experience because I've had testicle exams for issues
Mm-hmm.
in the past. So a lot of these are just I've deep dove in after issues. I'm like, what the heck
Yeah.
happened? And if you're a right side phone holder, you better be checking your right side testicle for
Yeah.
bumps and stuff. And that's a real thing. Those EMFs that are constantly being driven out are going over your body. And that's why
Yeah.
also with brain cancer and the side you hold your phone on, that's also another real thing.
Yeah.
So these are simple steps you can take, not have your phone in your pocket or have a proper EMF blocking case or keep it on airplane mode in your pocket.
I simply
Um,
just made the change of going to wired earbuds fully in the
yeah, that's smart too.
gym. Yeah. Only time I do use headphones are like if I'm running on the treadmill, for example. They're kind of annoying. You gotta hold your phone in your hand and then run on the treadmill. But it's honestly
We're outside
like
now.
I can tell like those headphones, they're so loud, they're like it's not even the EMF at one point. They're so loud, they're around your ears like this. They're Bluetooth. They're yeah, they're increased headaches, all that stuff.
The headaches are real too. The headaches,
Yeah.
and along with the blue light glasses,
Hmm.
these help the
Yeah.
headaches a ton too. Like I'm gonna put mine on right now, but they're massive, and I've had so many people tell me that. Like,
Yeah.
and you look like a hippie, or with if you're like me and you have the actual like the
Is
ones that
the orange ones. Yeah.
the orange ones, people are like, what the fuck? But they
Yeah.
really do help. And
Yeah,
I've
they
got the
do.
nighttime ones that are darker, but they reduce that stress. Again,
Hmm.
you're getting bright light, and that's stressful. So all things that can help with health, and you can
Yeah.
just start simply. Listen to a few of these topics, a few of these actionable steps, try a
Yep.
few, and you get a positive response, you feel better, you might try another one. So again, it's just,
Yeah.
trying to take digestible bits and just adding that to your life and then
Yeah.
slowly stacking your habits. And before you know it, you're gonna
Yeah.
be wearing wired headphones like us and
Headphones.
blue light
Yeah.
glasses like us and
Yeah.
feeling pretty good.
At one point I stopped doing the headphones at one point. I didn't even wear these. I just played the podcast through my phone and just held it in my hand and just started walking. So, I mean, a big thing is I know we talked about it last time, phone addiction, just cut it down. Get even put an app on your phone. That's what I have now. Just to restrict yourself from going on those social media.
What app do you use?
I use Refocus. It's free. You can put up to 3 times on it, I think. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Or I'm a big post and delete guy. So I'll post something on Instagram. I post pretty
Yeah.
often and I'll delete it right away. I'll delete the app. Like I'm out of
Yeah.
here. So sometimes it might take me a day to respond to somebody's comment on a post because I don't have
Yeah.
it on my phone and I don't scroll
That's an
Instagram on my
interesting
computer.
I think that's one of the
Yeah,
more
I don't have any
interesting.
social media on my phone. I delete it
methods. Yeah.
immediately. I'll post something and I'll delete it.
Yeah.
So I'd recommend not having it on your phone. I
Hmm.
would recommend airplane mode before you go to bed and when you wake up. I would not recommend looking on your phone in the morning. I try to, an hour at least of not being on my phone. I'm having
Yeah.
breakfast, I'm taking a walk, I'm reading, I'm
Hmm.
meditating, I'm praying, I'm journaling. I'm setting time for myself
Stack those
because,
habits.
again, stack the habits. If you're not going to be on your phone, don't just sit there and be a boardo because you're going to go back to your phone. So
Probably
if
are.
you're not
Yeah.
going to be on your phone, take a walk, journal, meditate, read,
Hmm.
meal prep. There's so many things you can hang out with family, do a hobby,
Yeah.
play chess, play checkers, play guitar, play piano. There's so
Yeah.
many things to do in life other than being on your phone.
Hmm.
And that again builds confidence. I think
Does.
spending time, whatever it may be, even just drawing artwork, those are all great things. And recreation is recreating you. And you can't really
Yeah.
have recreational time on your phone. You
Hmm.
almost feel like you're in a time debt. You feel like, oh crap, I
Yeah.
just wasted an hour compared to
Yeah.
doing something else where you feel like you enjoyed an hour.
Yeah. And yeah, I think you said it again. Like you're gonna, there was once, I think 2 years ago, people would go around asking people to just check their phone for the time. They'd end up opening it, go on a bunch of apps, and then they forget what time it is. So I think the phone is a big thing of where it's just starting to lead you to do other things. You go to check, I go to check my app for my watch, and then I end up going on Instagram. So that's a big thing. That's why I have the app. That's why I have the blocking apps. It's not going to allow me to do that. So I think not taking it to you in the bathroom, um, keeping it away when you're trying to do, keep it downstairs, maybe when you're doing work upstairs. I don't sleep with my phone with me. I know some people like to do, some people do that. I don't, I have another alarm clock with me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, to have your phone on you all the time is stressful. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want to be on call 24/7.
Yeah.
I've got a ton of people I work with, and I have times where I work with them and I'm very responsive, but you also need time to like be yourself. And you can't, if your phone's always on, you're always looking at it. And there's even a thing, I forgot the name of the symptom, but you actually think you feel a vibration in your pocket and your phone's not even in your pocket because your body
Yeah.
gets so used to it.
Hmm.
And that's like, we don't want to
It's
be having that
insane.
stuff,
You're so
guys. So,
stressed. Yeah.
yeah. And stress, cortisol, adrenaline, glucagon, all those
Hmm.
stress hormones your body's feeling, you're not in a parasympathetic state. So now your
Yeah. Yeah.
digestion's worse, your skin's worse, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting fat. I feel bad. I need to
Yeah.
reduce my food. But really, you just need to reduce the stress through
Yeah.
your clothing, through what your environment, through your sleep routine, through all these stuff, your headphones,
Yep.
the amount of time on your phone. These can all be really important for your health.
Yeah. And even like when you're in the gym, for example, your people end up spending 3 hours, 4 hours in the gym because you're on your phone between sets for 15 minutes. I've waited for someone on a machine for 20 minutes once because they just scroll between each set.
Yeah, you got to ask to
So
work in. You got to ask to
yeah,
work in.
I
Always
have to
work.
start. Yeah,
Yeah, work in. And then I always offer if somebody comes over and it's like, how many sets you got? Hey, work in.
work in. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So like even when you're going in the sauna, for example, maybe put on a podcast while you're in the sauna or just throw your phone in the locker.
Yeah, I don't bring
So
my phone. It's too hot for headphones or
it's
a phone in there.
really I
If you're in a hot sauna, yeah, man, what the heck?
it's not that bad. I listen to a podcast while it lets the time go by a little faster, I think.
Try it with no phone, meditate. You'll be
I will.
freaking in the zone, dude. You see somebody come in there, you gotta beat them.
You know, that's the thing. What are they thinking? Yeah.
My dad always says that. He's like, I was in the steam room. He goes, before work, or between work shifts for him,
Yeah.
he'll go into the steam room and then he'll be like, yeah, I saw these young guys. I'm staying longer than them. Like just mindset wise, no
His
phone,
mindset, yeah.
no clock, has no idea how long he's been in there. He's
Yeah.
just holding out. But that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the whole phone stress part. Like just cut down if that leads to what the estrogen part we were talking about, loose skin. So I know I mentioned it, we bring it up is sugar. So I want to retouch on sugar because a big misconception nowadays is no sugar, sugar free. You look at sodas, sugar-free sodas, diet soda, Coke Zero. So I want to talk about, yeah, just sugar. It's important for you. It's gonna help you.
Yeah, sugar is an interesting topic because it's been, man, there's a lot of nuance behind sugar and there's a
Hmm.
lot of propaganda behind sugar and really a lot of propaganda behind food. And what you have to understand about sugar is when sugar got demonized, um, a lot of artificial sweeteners were put in. So these sugar-free foods were replaced, or these sugary foods were replaced by sugar-free foods in such cases. And the you've got to understand that when they're researching ingredients that they're adding to foods, and these
Hmm.
foods that are being sold are extremely profitable, and then these profitable organizations are funding research, these research outcomes will usually lead to being beneficial for the profitable organization who's funding the
Yeah.
research. So just understand that critically thinking, you can think how you want, but just understand that
Hmm.
most research is funded by Nestle or General Mills or these places which are
Yeah.
owned and they're owned by different hedge funds and corporations,
Yeah.
which then fund schools. And schools are funded by the Rockefeller Foundation and other foundations, which really changed medicine in the
Yep.
1920s, 1910s. Almost bought all medical schools, pharmacies, changed everything to petroleum-based medicine. So food and
Yeah.
medicine has been adjusted. And now
Yeah.
what we deem science has been changed.
Hmm.
And only certain things are allowed to be researched. Some things are just
Yep.
illegal and you can't even research them.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of nuance behind that, but I would say the ingredients many times are found to be maybe aspartame or other things are found to be in large quantities uh, carcinogenic, but in small
Yeah.
quantities they say it's fine to consume. Now, another question would be why do a lot of our products why are they banned in other countries like Europe and
Hmm.
other places, right?
Why does
Because
Fanta look different in Europe
yeah,
than it does
in
here?
Russia, all these places, right? The food quality
Yeah.
is not allowed to be altered the way ours is.
No.
And that I think causes a lot of issues. Again, a lot of these, we're making adjustments to food that's already healthy for us. We don't need to
Hmm.
take away sugar because sugar, depending on the sugar, say a simple sugar, half sucrose, half fructose. The fructose
Yeah.
refills the liver. The liver needs fuel, needs sugar.
Hmm.
In nature, right? What do we really want to eat? Why are we eating fruits? And why are they
Yeah.
preferential mostly to vegetables? Because they don't have defense chemicals on them. They don't
Hmm.
have defense
Yeah.
hormones on them. They don't have these lectins and other acids on them that are really hard to digest,
Yep.
like a nut does, which is
Yeah.
why when animals want to hibernate, they eat nuts because it slows
They
their
nuts.
metabolism.
Squirrels.
When they,
Yeah.
yeah, when bears want to freaking eat up and good food, or when animals do, they're eating fruits, berries, and other things,
Their
which are really,
metabolic rate slows down too, which
yes, when they
allows
have their
them to.
polyunsaturated
I
fats.
just read that. I think I was just recalling that from Kate's book. I think
Yeah,
she
and
read a
but we should
paragraph.
know what we should know about these zero calorie foods is these also slow to metabolism
Hmm.
because these additives really one of the biggest takeaways for you watching is going to be these zero sugar foods.
Yep.
Sodas, energy drinks have many ingredients that are going to cause
Yep.
gut permeability and gut inflammation. And
Yep.
that's really the most important aspect that you can take away because if your gut is inflamed and your gut is permeable, now there are things that are meant to be excreted through bowel movements being
Yep.
released into your bloodstream. And these lead to inflammatory hormones. So when you're bloated and you're having indigestion, you're having increase in stress hormones, namely histamine, serotonin, and estrogen, all of which
Yep.
are metabolic blockers, all of which slow your metabolism. So if you're eating something that has 0 calories, but it's slowing your metabolism by 5 to 10%, and it probably just continues to do so. And then you're having 0 calories and you're having nut butters and PUFAs. You're slowing your metabolism, I could argue 10, 20, 30%. So
Hmm.
rather than avoiding sugar, what if you just took away the 0 calorie thing that stops your metabolism, took away the
Yep.
polyunsaturated fats that stop your metabolism, and have sugar in times that are beneficial for you. So having sugar around activity is going to be more beneficial than if you're not doing any activity, right? Because
Yeah.
you want to refill your liver and muscle glycogen. And if you're barely emptying it by not moving, by not exercising, by not walking, then you don't need as much carbohydrates as somebody who's
Hmm.
extremely active. And that's
Yeah.
something to be conscious of. And then you want to have constant refills of that sugar, but also understand the Randall cycle. This is a key thing about the sugar and where many people get it misconception because they think of a high sugar food like a donut, a cake, a cookie. Those are also high fat foods. And when
Yeah.
you have a high fat food with a high sugar food, there's something called the Randall cycle. And this really
Yep.
explains that if you're having high fat with high sugar, you're not able to oxidize this glucose efficiently. You have
Yeah.
more free fatty acids in your bloodstream, and you're going to be storing more body fat compared to if you're having a higher sugar meal with lower carbs. So if you want to
Yeah.
increase your carbohydrates and you want to increase your sugar, I would pull down your fats, keep your calories the same to
Yeah.
start, and increase your sugar, decrease your fat, and you'll realize that you actually feel warmer, you feel more
You do.
energetic, you have higher
Hmm.
libido, you have better digestion, and then you
You
can
wake up
slowly bump them up.
energized. Yeah.
Hmm.
You wake
Yeah,
up, you're not freezing cold. I know that was a big thing when I start in the winter. I know it's cold in the winter, but still you wake up and
yeah.
you're shivering. You're like, I need a
It's,
blanket.
it's low metabolism. Yeah,
It is. And now I wake up, I'm able to go make my breakfast, go on a walk in the first hour and a half of me waking up. So yeah, I like that. Like sugar is such a big, big, big thing. When people think of sugar, they think of sweets. They don't think about fruits. They don't think about real sugar.
Yeah, when we're talking
So
sugar, I'm talking mostly about fruit.
yeah.
Honey, maple syrup, and juices. I'm not
Hmm.
talking about, like you're having Mexican Coca-Cola. I'll have some sugar in my coffee.
Yeah.
Um, but these are within moderation. You know what your calories for you, 3,200. Your
Yeah.
fats are pretty low, and you're having sugar at times. It's like brain fuel. There's
Hmm.
studies of giving people sugar and B1, and they're testing way better on tests.
Yeah.
I have clients to must do that, like just spam B1 for an engineering exam or something, and it can really help along with sugar because it's
Yeah.
helpful fuel because your stress hormones are really low. So you can kind of tap into that flow state a little bit. You look at
Yeah.
Steve Jobs, he was a fruitarian. I
He
mean,
was. He ate
there's
fruits.
look at what Tesla ate.
Yeah.
Typically a lot of sometimes not even meat, but a lot of carbohydrates via fruit. So and the
Exactly.
fruit
Yeah.
and the sugar and a lot of times the fruit's really good because the fruit
Hmm.
has micronutrients with it, and especially when you're having with sugar, you have potassium. Potassium works like
Hmm.
insulin, and it helps
Yeah.
shuttle that sugar and muscle glycogen to the correct area. So when you're having sugar and you're having protein and you're having lower fat, your insulin is able to work properly. And there's even studies of people having extremely high carbohydrate, no fat
Yeah.
diets and
Hmm.
reversing diabetes because you're actually your insulin's able to shuttle all of the
Yeah.
nutrients rather than getting stuck via renal
Yeah. And
cycle.
the thing with fruit is now like I'll weigh out my watermelon and I'll be like only this much. Like you want like I've always been the person that can eat a whole watermelon in a sitting.
Me too.
Like it's not staying in the house for more than a day. You cut it up, you're just starting to eat it. Same thing with mango. So
And
it's
that's
you
also knowing
realize,
yourself too. And
yeah,
sometimes you got to know yourself and know like I'm the same with honey, dude. I don't
yeah,
have honey often in the house because I could just take a spoon and just
and just start eating it. Yeah, I see. That's why I do maple syrup a lot more because I know I'll do
do
that with honey. Yeah, but even maple syrup, like I'll that thing goes in my coffee. That goes in everything. So
it. And what you'll notice is you kind of add things in and as you feel good, feel warm. Like right now, I'm freaking
yeah.
warm.
Oh yeah,
And I've been
sure.
having coffee and maple syrup
I had
and
to have the
sugar.
fan running and it's like 90 degrees outside today. So
Yeah, it's
yeah.
good to feel warm though. Like that's a good
Hmm.
impact. So,
Yeah.
does that make sense for sugar?
Yeah, that makes it. Yeah, I think that does. Yeah. A lot of people
Refills
have
your
sugar
main
addicts.
takeaway again for sugar.
Yeah.
Refills refills your liver glycogen. Okay, this is
Hmm.
really important. Again, your liver excretes cortisol, your kidneys excrete, and really the adrenals excrete adrenaline. There's also stress hormone glucagon. These all rise when we have lack of nutrients, which the liver needs. So you want to fill the liver. Fructose via fruit is going to be helpful for that. Obviously, we've
Yep.
got starches as well, which break down into sugar. They all have to break down into sugar. Even protein, gluconeogenesis breaks it down to sugar.
Yep.
So, your starches are important too. But again, the quality is really important. The quality. So look, if it's a
Yeah.
single ingredient food, oh, it's just a potato. Oh, it's just pineapple. And if you're looking at
Yeah.
juices, be careful too. There's a lot of
Yeah.
additives in juices.
Hmm.
Even these added vitamins, synthetic vitamins can often be
Yeah.
allergenic and people think that they have allergies to XYZ thing, but it's
Yeah.
oftentimes just the additives
Yeah.
that they
Like the
have in the
orange juice. If
juices.
you're gonna get orange juice, make sure it's just orange juice. That's what mine
Right.
is. Fresh squeezed orange juice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can even do it from concentrate. If it's just
Yeah.
concentrate in water, that's the cheapest juice. If you're balling on a budget, I would sometimes do that or grape or something if they don't have it.
Hmm.
If it's just concentrate in water, it's still good.
Still, yeah. So yeah, I like that. I like how we talked about sugar there because again, a lot of people really do
Yeah.
see it as a bad thing.
And during training is a great time to have
Oh
sugar.
yeah. Orange
Great
juice
time
during
to have.
training.
Yeah, like that's the intra-training shake that I give almost all my clients is usually
Hmm.
orange juice, water, baking soda, collagen. So, and you could also do there's kind of higher level where you would do like essential amino acids rather than collagen and but
Hmm.
collagen's great too. And then you could do like high molecular weight carbohydrates, but really what's the beneficial of sugar during training is again you're refilling that liver glycogen right away.
Yep. Yeah.
So now you have less of a stress response during training, and then you fill up your liver glycogen, you fill up your muscle glycogen immediately after training with carbohydrates because again you need sugar and carbohydrates. So if you're on a low carb, low sugar diet, your body's still creating carbohydrates, but it's just
Yeah.
taking it from protein
Hmm.
protein would be used for enzyme, steroid creation, hormone creation, muscle
Yep.
creation, bones. And rather than that, it's using it for energy because it needs to via
Hmm.
gluconeogenesis, creating new
Yeah.
glucose. But in that process, there's ammonia being released, and that's inflammatory, and that's also going to bind to your thyroid
Hmm.
receptors and slow that down. So that's something to be cautious of. Is you want to use sugar for energy, you want to use protein for we want protein for, not energy, but
Yeah.
for muscle, for
Muscle
enzymes,
buildup. Yeah.
hormone creation, all of that.
Recovery. You want a little, or carbs. You want carbs for recovery.
Yeah, carbs
Yeah.
and protein for sure. And then
Protein. Yeah.
fats, you don't need a ton of, but you can have
Saturated
quality.
fats are great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
saturated fats typically that coincide with having micronutrients, typically
Hmm.
via dairy. A lot of those fats have, quality vitamin and mineral, a lot of, whether it might be B vitamins or whether it might be calcium.
Yeah. So I wanted to get into a little bit about caffeine and about how it really, you know, now we're at a time of day where energy drinks are a thing. A lot of people, depend on those. Pre-workout is a common thing. So I want to get into like caffeine, how it can benefit you, how it isn't going to benefit you, and people who really probably should use it and probably people who shouldn't use it.
Yeah, so caffeine and coffee, and really coffee, I would like to emphasize coffee and tea, I think are more
Hmm.
beneficial than just having an energy drink because there's
Hmm.
many more protective aspects of coffee.
Yeah.
Coffee has a high amount of B1 and magnesium, although it's not labeled. You can, look into the research or repeat. This is a
Yeah.
very important thing. So coffee drinkers, it's also a reduces carcinogens. So people who drink coffee have less rates of cancer, less rates of dementia. It increases your metabolic rate. So it's a
Yeah.
stimulant,
Hmm.
and you want to just be cautious of that. So when you're having coffee, why I wouldn't recommend having black coffee or a 0 calorie energy drink, or if you're having black coffee to have it with a meal, is because it's going to
Hmm.
accelerate your metabolism.
Yeah.
Meaning, as your metabolism speeds up, your liver and the needs of the liver to have fructose are going to be increased. And eventually, if you're just speeding up your metabolism and you're not having any sugar, now you're having a stress response. So if you're waking up and you're in a fasted state and your cortisol is already high, and then you're chugging a 0 calorie energy drink,
Yeah.
well, now you're even in a higher stress state. So now your liver's like, holy cow, like what is going on? We need to
Yeah.
pull all the amino acids from our muscles
Yeah.
and turn those into glucose. Oh, and now we're going to feel more inflamed, kind of more tired. Our muscles going to shrink. We're not going to lift as hard later in the day,
Hmm.
and my gut's going to feel like shit because I
Yeah.
have poor, gut permeability or had
Hmm.
a lot of things leaking. So rather than that, coffee can be really beneficial.
Yeah.
Coffee, again, has those micronutrients B1 and magnesium, namely, but it protects the liver from a lot of impacts like Tylenol. It can protect the liver
Hmm.
from Tylenol. It's also protects from radiation.
Yeah.
So if you're flying, carcinogens, it's also anti-estrogenic. So coffee reduces estrogen. It's also a little bit of a diuretic. So you've got to make sure you're hydrated with it. I mean, that's something to be cautious of if you're
Yeah.
just drinking coffee and no water and sweating a lot. Make sure you're having adequate liquid via water,
Yeah.
juice, fruit. Um, Again, a lot of magnesium, a lot of B1. B1's needed and magnesium is needed for electron transport
Hmm.
chain, which is the process of your metabolic system, which
Yeah.
basically your energy has to go through to then give you energy. Um, so I'll have to link in there too. There's a Ray Peat article where he talks about
Hmm.
coffee
Yeah.
and just talks about how important it is. But I think you can drink a large amount of coffee. When I put coffee on meal
Yeah.
plans for people, I say unlimited because I think you can
Mix
have,
it with some milk. Yeah.
yeah, I typically will have it with milk and sugar. So say for an average glass of 12 ounces of coffee,
Yeah.
which is what I did before this that I already drank, is 12 ounces of coffee, 4 ounces of milk, 0%,
Yeah.
1%, 2%, and then usually 10 grams of sugar or 10 grams of maple syrup. And you can just have that on repeat as long as you're
Hmm.
allocating those calories.
Yeah.
And then coffee can help reduce appetite too. So if you're
Yeah.
somebody who's working and like today, I've been on meetings for since early this morning.
Hmm.
Um, it can help, keep the cravings, not even cravings, but just hunger on the lower end
Yeah.
as a stimulant would. And and with the
You're still getting
proper
your
functioning,
nutrients. Yeah.
yeah, and with a proper functioning metabolism, I don't find myself uh getting like addicted to it. Some days I won't have, like a
Yeah.
couple days ago, I remember I was on a meeting, I was like, I had no coffee today. And I'm fine. Like I
Yeah.
enjoy it. I view it as like a calorie source and a micronutrient dense B1 magnesium
Hmm.
source that I can stack my milk with because I don't always really drink milk plain, so I can stack the milk with it.
Yeah.
So those would be what I would say. Uh, Again, it's overall less risk of dementia, Parkinson's, suicide,
Hmm.
It's been
Yeah.
used for a long time. Benjamin Franklin used to have 50 cups a day. So I think you can have plenty of coffee
Yeah.
for sure. I'm a big fan of it.
And I think a
Reduces
lot of
breast
people,
cancer.
yeah, a lot of people start off not being able to even tolerate the caffeine part of it. So you start off, even I know myself, I used to not be able to drink or have anything caffeine in it past like 2 p.m. Now I'm able to tolerate it. I can have 2 coffees per day, two, 3 coffees per day. I do, I don't know if people saw the post, but it's a big thing of coffee. It's almost, I think, 30 ounces of 20 ounces of milk and sir, almost 12 out. Like it's a cold brew. So it's cold brew
Yeah, it's
concentrate. So yeah,
it's great for before training. I mean,
it is.
there's training evidence of usually is it maybe 2 grams? I think it's 2 grams. It's maybe 2 to 4 grams
Hmm.
of 2 to 4 milligrams maybe
Yeah.
of caffeine per kilogram that increases performance tremendously. And they
Really?
tested this in
Okay.
Olympic athletes.
Yeah.
So for most people, 2 to 400 milligrams of caffeine before training is going to increase pain tolerance, increase training intensity, increase training output. So I think a moderate amount of caffeine, if you know your body, it's going to make you go to the bathroom. So if you're somebody
It is.
who's
Yeah.
bloated and constipated, caffeine is a great tool to use to
Yeah.
help you go to bathroom. I mean, I've introduced this with people who've had, I work with clients who have struggles with constipation, maybe haven't been able to go to the bathroom for days. I'm talking
Hmm.
2, 3, 4 days. Coffee, along with the carrots and mushrooms, is another tool to use to help with digestion. And again, it speeds up your metabolism, so it helps
Yep.
flush things out of you. So that can be beneficial as well. If you're feeling constipated, that's bad. You're getting endotoxin release, stress
Yep.
hormones. You need to get that quite literally shit out of you. So
Yeah.
coffee can help you with that. And adding in that sugar via maple syrup, honey, or sugar with the milk is very beneficial. And then for performance, time that up. I used to have coffee before games. I'd be sipping on that,
Yeah.
but I kind of knew when I was going to go to the bathroom. So if you're an
You
athlete,
can't go to the bathroom in the middle of a game.
no, you got to go before
Yeah,
the
you
game, and you
can.
got to go before your hands get taped, and you got to go
Yeah.
before you get your shoulder strapped on. So you got to kind of
Because you
time
are
up.
going to be, you can't go to the bathroom when you have your pads on before practice. I know what it feels like.
Yeah,
You
and
end
you
up
got to
getting
have.
yelled at.
And this is why I work with athletes. This is why
Yeah.
I make meal plans for
You know
guys
how
who are
to
about
do
to go
it.
into games.
Yeah.
Is look, we're gonna have caffeine, we're gonna have a lot of fuel, and you're not gonna shit your pants, and you're gonna play really well.
Yeah.
And yeah, game day nutrition and supplement and
Hmm.
caffeine intake can make a huge difference in people's
Yeah.
performance, and uh, and it can also have detriment if you don't have any food and you feel stressed out and you have caffeine. You might feel like you're tweaking the fuck out
Yeah.
and feel very uncomfortable, and you don't want to feel like that either. You don't want to feel like the
No. You
anxiety
don't
from
want to feel
coffee.
that like I know people talk about the pre-workout tingle.
Yeah, tingles
Little,
is usually
yeah.
from beta alanine, and
But
that's not
yeah.
within coffee either.
That's not within coffee.
Beta alanine's a
Yeah.
fun time, but that's a different story.
It makes you a little, yeah, a
Has positive
little.
effects. It does. But typically the pre-workout, the issues with those is there's a lot of artificial sweeteners and
Hmm.
binders and
It's gonna be
colors.
zero sugar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gonna
And
have, yeah.
if you're having a zero sugar something, have food with it. So if you don't
Hmm.
want to, if you like black coffee, just have a banana and a small piece of Parmesan cheese with it
Yeah.
as your snack. And if you're having it with a meal, it's not a big deal. Drinking
No.
fluid with meals isn't the best idea because that can dilute your stomach enzymes a bit. The more you're eating with coffee, the less it will have a spiking effect. And sometimes it can
Yeah.
actually increase your metabolism in a sense that it actually helps your body relax and then it helps
Hmm.
you go to bed. So sometimes
Yeah.
people actually find it helpful to have coffee a little bit before bed.
Yeah. And yeah, that's I think I like that how we mentioned about the
Oh, wait 1 second. I think I'm having a technical. We're back. Quick technical difficulty. Caffeine is covered. What's next, Arjun?
Yeah. So I want to go into we're in this like supplement type thing. Creatine. I know I used to take creatine. It was a big thing more of there were so many videos I was very influenced by it. A lot it made me believe like that it was really going to be this big like change, which it really didn't. It's not that big of a change. It's but I want to get into your perspective of creatine. I know I don't take creatine anymore, and I feel the best I ever have. So yeah.
Yeah, so creatine, I wrote an article. I need to post this because I wrote an article on
Hmm.
skin, and
I
then I
read
wrote an
it.
article on yeah, I wrote an article on creatine. So
Yeah.
these are just good reminders. I'm gonna put on Substack. Um, so creatine, and I pulled up the article just to kind of rebrief myself. And you know, there's use cases for it. I'm not going to say I'm typically not don't want to be a person who's completely anti or for something because I'm still
Yeah.
learning. Um, I'm still somebody who's learning, and there's smart individuals who say it's good to take creatine or fish oil. From the things I've learned, I tend to think not, but I'll share my
Yeah.
reasoning, and then you can, look into these yourself.
Hmm.
So the first basis of this, and most supplements, and the reason to be skeptical, again, of food supplements and whatever it is we want to think about quality. Again, this is our body, and our body is a very uh, important system, and it's very reactive to what we put in it and put
Yeah.
on it and smell and all of our senses, which impact it. We've talked about this a lot in this episode. So let's continue. And creatine, right? The quality. So where do a lot of these come from? Chinese labs, which don't
Yeah.
have a lot of these GMP compliant facilities. And now I'm not
Hmm.
always with licensing and compliance because I think those can be, big marketing ploys. But I think quality of what you're putting in your body is really important. And many times you're going to see an athlete who test positive for performance enhancing drugs. Either they're taking them and they didn't figure out the clearing window, which is silly. But many times it's a tainted supplement, and
Yeah.
they're taking a supplement, and they don't realize that the supplement to act extra good toss a little pro
Yeah.
hormone in there, or it maybe has a little bit of this or a little bit of that. So that's one thing. And when they're
Yeah.
not cleaning when you're thinking about making a supplement, right, you've got a big vat, a big metal, basically bowl. And what
Yeah.
happens in many of these places is they're creating pharmaceuticals, medicines, supplements, but they're not cleaning that vat.
Yeah.
So if they're making some freaking birth control as an example, and then making your creatine, guess what? You got some weird shit in your creatine.
You probably do.
And
Yeah.
and now I'm not saying that's like what I'm saying, but a lot of these have heavy metals. That's a
Yeah.
very common thing, I think, in over 80% of them. So again, I would just be cautious of the quality of these. I'm
Yeah.
not a doctor about this, but right, creatine's got really high margins. Creatine used to get sold for nothing. And then all these neuroscientists and people started talking about creatine, which has been known about forever. And
Yeah.
then got super expensive somehow. So I would just
Yeah.
be cautious of like marketing schemes. Sometimes if
Yeah.
it's too good to be true, it is. And sometimes if it's in a food, you should probably get it in a food. And creatine, oh my gosh, it can be gotten in food. So when you're eating muscle meats, when you're eating fish, when you're eating shellfish,
Yeah.
eggs, okay, it's actually used and stored in your muscle tissue. What creatine, and I'm reading from the article I'm going to post that I wrote,
Yeah.
but it's coming from a synthetic creatine. And now this is different
Hmm.
than regular creatine because this is taken from cyanide, okay,
Yeah.
cyanide and sodium sarcosine.
Hmm.
And I'm not a chemist, but cyanide and sodium carcinoine, okay, those are toxic things that we don't really want to be having. As you can see, I can't even
Yeah.
really pronounce them. But they're carcinogens. Okay,
Hmm.
so maybe not things we want to be having along with the heavy metals that are likely within your creatine that this doctor is pushing on you because he's
Yeah.
getting a referral code. From there, right? If you're not deficient in creatine, it's probably not going to cause an effect in you. So you'll notice with people with really quality diets who are eating
Yeah.
quality proteins and having carbohydrates, because carbohydrates are part of really the creatine process, you'll realize that it's not going to have much of an effect on you. Low carb dieters and maybe people
Yeah.
who aren't eating as clean will notice more of an effect because it's going to soak up water into the cell, can be
Hmm.
helpful. Um, but again, it's used from sarcosinine. It's very inflammatory. Cyanide, which is also not ideal. Um,
Yeah.
and it can cause some issues. If you're going to have creatine, I'd recommend having it with warm water and
Hmm.
having it around your training if you're going to do it. I'm going to continue to update this article.
Yeah.
But in general, there's some more research that I don't have pulled up right now, but it was talking about how increased ATP, you have more increased creatine phosphate within your muscle. So I'll have to dive more into that, really give you maybe on the next episode, or I'll have to post it on Substack,
Yeah.
a comprehensive review. Do I think creatine's needed for most people? No. I think it's
Probably
a
not.
marketing
Yeah.
ploy, and I think the ingredients are spotty. If you get really good
Yeah.
creatine and you feel good from it, it's your body. It's quite literally your choice.
Yeah.
So do what you want, try it out. I've used it for years and I didn't really feel anything, and that's why
Yeah.
I was always kind of skeptical of it. I was like, I don't think this really does anything. And I think if you're not
Yeah.
restricting carbs too much and you have enough muscle glycogen and water within your cells and ATP, you don't really
Hmm.
need the creatine, especially if you're eating muscle
Yeah.
meat, which most people are.
Yeah. So, and the problem, like you said, the marketing part of it, it's you can find creatine protein bars now. There's gummies, there's drinks with creatine in it. It's all this big thing of it's started as one little thing. Now it's this all like people are recommending it. People that are on these enhancing drugs are recommending it to you.
Yeah, man. Like people are thinking they're gonna take creatine and look like the guy who's selling the creatine. The guy who's selling the creatine's on
No.
steroids, pal. So, uh, creatine's not gonna make you look like you're on steroids, and most people they won't really look much different. Eat a good
Yeah.
diet, have a good metabolism, have a good proper functioning thyroid, proper body temp, proper
Hmm.
heart rate, eating at adequate meals. That's what I would really
Yeah.
focus on. I wouldn't really stress about the supplements. And if you're to look at supplements, I would looking at things like vitamin D, E, K. I would track your nutrients. I would see what you're low in,
Yeah.
maybe get a blood work test, and then maybe supplement with things such as that. Um, but
Yeah.
do your thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people that come to you are on, it's more about taking away supplements than adding supplements. So, like a big thing we that I know your goal is just let people eat clean. Like you're you completely flush out everything in your system, every bad thing in your system in about a week, which is what I was able to do very quickly. And I haven't eaten out in I want to say 5 months since I started with you. I've had black coffee from like Starbucks, I think once or twice, but that is I don't, yeah, I don't really count that. So yeah, you do feel when you're able to take all these things out, it's helping you improve. So I always look first about what to take out than what to add in.
Yeah. And I'm speaking from somebody who's taken
Hmm.
I've taken probably at least 50 different types of supplements. I've
Yeah.
taken over 30 to 40 at a time. Like almost every supplement people have asked me about, I've tried. Um, and I've tried a decent amount of medications. I've tried some of the
Mhm.
peptides, like BPC peptide,
Mhm.
GHK. I haven't tried any of the hunger ones because I don't need to because I'm not
Yeah.
hungry.
Oh.
Um, so I've tried a lot of these things for
Hmm.
my own health issues, and I've looked into them. And this is really how I got involved with helping people in the first place, was just solving my own
Yeah.
health issues, weight loss to start, now thyroid and other things. But there's a lot of things out there, man. And I'll tell you, most of the supplements, besides, thyroid,
Hmm.
progesterone, activated charcoal, digestive bitters, pregnenolone, vitamin D, maybe DHEA,
Yeah.
maybe a cyproheptadine, maybe a cascara. These are the main supplements I would say. Maybe B1, B3. Those are the main ones, and those aren't like the cool ones. Nobody's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's the
Nobody's
coolest
like, oh, let's
supplement.
take thyroid.
Yeah, like what? Nor should they, because it's a hormone, and if you don't
Yeah,
need it, you shouldn't take it.
exactly.
But like most people aren't like, oh, B1. Like I was at a gym, I was literally at the gym yesterday, and this guy,
Hmm.
because sometimes people ask me if I'm at like a tank top or something, I got a pump.
Yeah.
They're like, you're in steroids. If I'm in steroids. And I'm like, no, brother. But yesterday he asked me if I was like taking creatine or what supplements. They're kind of
Yeah.
implying like, are you on
Of
the
course,
sauce?
creatine's the first one that comes up because they think like, oh, I saw this guy. He looks jacked now.
I'm like, no, I don't take creatine. Um, but it's funny how that works, and so many people overcomplicate things, man.
Hmm.
And I think creatine and supplements, especially like supplements like creatine or whey, like you
Yeah.
gotta, if you're not working out 3 to 4 days a week, if you don't have a dialed in kind of like training structure, good steps in,
Yeah.
those are the basics. You got to take care of those before you start
Exactly.
worrying about all these
Yeah,
supplements.
for sure.
Um, yeah. What else you got?
Um, yeah, I really like yeah, you gotta be dialed in first. I don't know, like we didn't bring in any of these Mexican Cokes, any of these fancy things, even coffee. We didn't bring that in until I got my nutrition dialed in. And I didn't want to bring it in. I knew I was fine without them. Like I was like, a big thing is people need to understand is take it at a pace. There's no race to get to lose 40 pounds and
Yeah, and your pace is faster than most. Most people don't lose
yeah.
that fast. And I think that, oh, hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. My speaker was acting weird for a second. Um, but most people, don't lose weight at the speed
Mhm.
that you've lost it at in like what 30 pounds in 3 months.
Yeah,
Um,
30 pounds in 3 months. Yeah.
yeah, so that's quicker, it's doable, but you're committed and fucking locked in. And a lot of
Yeah.
people I would say commitment level, it's not 100%. If you come to me and you freaking want to lose weight and you follow the meal plan and you follow the training plan and you take the few supplements and you sleep and you track your heart rate, body temp, steps, and you follow the meal plan and I make
Yeah.
adjustments on your check-ins, which shit's gonna happen. Like I'm
It's
very
gonna happen
confident.
in 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah, like you're gonna be dialed. But if if you're not dialed in, or if you're just still eating out sometimes or things like that, it might take longer time. Or it depends on people's hormones. The older you get, the more damage you've kind of had to your body. I think of it kind of as like a foundation. So when you want to clear out, maybe reduce the crappy supplements, the crappy food, kind of clear the slate, get the clean food, get the good eating, get the good sleep, consistent training. Okay, now we want to improve X, Y, Z. Oh, it's wintertime. Let's take a little bit of vitamin D. We want to improve
Yeah.
energy in the morning, a little B1. We want to, whatever, make sure inflammation's low during fat loss, add in a vitamin E or B3.
Yeah.
But you want to first just get down to the basics. Now, it depends when people are older, if somebody's got a legit issue right away, somebody comes to me with fucking colitis and hypothyroid right away, you
Yeah.
bet your ass we're figuring out how to get thyroid hormone and how to
Yeah.
freaking take Cascara and use things like it depends
Yeah.
on the severity of the situation.
Because yes, when you get older, your body is gonna be a little more, it's not gonna
More
be the
wear and
same as when
tear.
you're 14. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely
So
more wear and tear.
yeah, it's gonna be harder for someone who's probably maybe in their 50s, 40s to lose 30 pounds in 3 months.
Yeah, and the best time to take advantage of improving your health and to make the decision is the younger you are. The younger
Yeah.
you are, the more responsive you are. You might think, oh, I'm overweight and I'm fucking 15 or I'm 22 or I'm 29, but it's sure as hell gonna be better to lose weight even if you're 50 or 60 than when you're 80. So
Yeah.
realizing it is the first thing, is realizing, okay, I want to improve my health, but then taking the next steps and taking some
Hmm.
basic things.
Yeah.
Steps, quality meals, weight training, sleeping, and
Yeah.
then just progress from there, man.
Yeah. And I think like even after I've lost weight, of course, like I don't have abs, but I'm not like the leanest guy in the world. But it's just looking around and seeing that how common now it's become of obesity, of people with higher fat on them. And it's turned into like I know it's not even just it's a lot of influence. I feel like that's a big problem that's come to it. It's become normalized so much.
Yeah, and what you have to understand about weight is if somebody wants to be shredded, and I had this
Yeah.
conversation with a client today who's like 6'2" and he's like 230 and he's down from 280 and he's trying to get fucking diced. And I'm like, if
Yeah.
you want to have abs, you probably have to be like 210,
Yeah.
like, and he's 6'2" and he's been lifting for 7 years.
Yeah.
So squats 500 pounds, like strong person, has a lot of muscle.
Hmm.
Like for me, I'm
Yeah.
6'3". For me to have abs, I need to be about 200 to 205.
Yeah.
I've been training for 12, 13, 14 years,
Hmm.
natural, not taking testosterone. So like you've got
Yeah.
to be much leaner. So for you being 5'10", 5'11",
5'11. Yeah.
yeah, for training, weight training for 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Weight
So
training
for you
too
to have, yeah, for you to
from
have
seventh grade.
abs,
Yeah.
yeah, for you to have abs, you probably have to be like, 165, 175.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
like people think, oh, I'm just gonna be freaking 250 lean. Like it's
Yeah. No.
you've got to be a
It's
freak athlete for that
yeah.
with a ton of muscle
You
mass, with
yeah.
perfect hormones. Like it's not an easy thing to accomplish.
No.
And
You could probably cut down and get to those abs and then be able to maybe bulk up and keep those abs, but
and
it's
that's what I
you
was talking
have
about with
to
my
yeah.
client is you got to get down and then you can reverse out. And after you're cut, man, that's the time. If you're thinking about, yo, I want to get more muscle, get lean
Yeah.
first and then add the muscle on because then you're
Yeah.
much more responsive. 8 to 10%, 10 to 12% body fat. Your testosterone, you've got way less testosterone going to estrogen. So now you can convert that training into muscle mass. You can convert that
Hmm.
quality fuel into muscle mass. So I think it's always, try to get down lean and then you can add some muscle. And that's kind of what I did. The first time I got lean, I lost like 80 pounds in 6 months, pushed the pace as hard as probably anyone does, while still working
Yeah.
out and eating food. And then the past few years, I focused on regaining muscle. And now I'm cutting down again, slowly to keep on muscle, keep,
Yeah.
hormone function, thyroid function. But then the goal is to actually be more muscular than I was before.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it takes time.
And I know like we were talking about it too, is we were able to accelerate. We didn't, I mean, I was able to be dialed in and get this fat down. But now I have that opportunity. We got it down so in to such a low state. We never had the expectation to get down to 205.
Well,
We were always we
yeah,
probably
it was kind
yeah.
of always. it's like a possibility. It's just it's a big
Mhm.
thing for people is their mental,
Yeah.
if nobody knew your weight and people just saw your performance and saw you, lifting well, run well, perform well in the field, they wouldn't care about your weight, you
Yeah.
know. And now you're gonna regain the weight and it's not gonna be a big deal. Like I think you're gonna play better
Exactly.
than you've played before and
Yeah.
you won't be 240 for the season. You'll be heavier than you are right now.
Yeah.
But you're also young, so you can regain weight and do it
Yeah.
the
I
right
don't need to
way.
be 280. I'm not playing college football next year. There's
Yeah,
no,
yeah, man, you're fifth, or have you turned 15 yet?
I turned 15 in September. Yeah.
You're
So,
14. So
yeah,
yeah, you're
exactly.
just you're just getting your body, dialed in and healthy and lean, and then you can regain weight. You don't need to rush that back. You're
Yeah.
gonna play good at
Yeah.
football either way. 20 pounds of fat is not gonna make you a better player.
No,
Um,
it's
you
not.
know, so having that mindset now, that's a big thing about football too, is you have this discipline.
Hmm.
So when you go into the third quarter and you're a little bit behind, or the guy across the line of scrimmage has been freaking a tough guy to go against, you're gonna know.
Yeah.
You're gonna have that mental confidence. Like I put in all the work over this year, so I'm confident my
Hmm.
body's good. I can play four quarters.
Yeah,
I'm fueled throughout the
for
game.
sure.
My mind is tough. I can do anything I put my mind to. So then that only bleeds into more confidence on the field because that
Yep.
preparation and that just consistency throughout the year, you don't have those doubts. You don't, oh, I wish I just
Exactly.
trained a little harder. I wish ate a little cleaner. I wish I watched a little
Yeah.
more film. No, all that stuff's been done. So then you can play confident on the field. And so many people don't always have that supreme confidence on the field. And when you step onto a football field and you step in even in the lifting, it's fun. I fucking love being kind of in the competing arena. I want people to watch. Even when I lift, I want people to watch. Like I want you to I have no I'm extremely confident and that's how you
Yep.
should be. And the same thing for you. You walk onto the field, you're playing against one of these teams, thousands of people are watching and you're extremely freaking confident in your ability because
Hmm.
you've just been stacking days and days and weeks
Yeah.
and months of all this consistent effort. So then you're like, yeah, motherfucker, I'm here. I'm here to play. I'm here to win. And I'm like, you're all open. You're sending it. And
Yep.
that's how you should be.
I think confidence. That's like I know we're gonna end when I end off, it's the last question I have is about goals and motivation, but it's confidence and being dialed in is such a big thing. You're never gonna achieve something if you don't have the confidence to do it. You're even just becoming a better athlete. The mindset is such a huge thing that people forget about nowadays.
Yeah, 100%. And do you want to go into confidence now, or you got any other questions we
Yeah,
can
so
dive
I
into?
want to like go into goals kind of.
Yeah.
So I know you mentioned it when I did my post. It was how we set daily, weekly, monthly goals for ourselves. How can that really help, even just accelerate your performance?
Yeah, well, but we want to think about, right, is goals are really important. And having a purpose and having a why behind what you're doing is really important. So if I
Yes.
talk to somebody and they're like, oh, I don't know, I just want to, get in shape because I saw this guy on Instagram. I want to be good at football because my buddy. No, I need a deep-rooted reason why the fuck you're doing what
Hmm.
you're doing. It needs to really hit home to you. And once you have that, right? Then
Yeah.
you need to create goals before then because guess what? If you have a really, really big dream and goal, it's not going to happen tomorrow.
No,
So if
it's
your
not.
only goal is to freaking play, maybe for you, you're a freshman, an example, you want to play college football. If the only goal is to play college football, the only goal is to bench XYZ or squat XYZ, that's not
Hmm.
going to happen tomorrow. So if you don't have
Yeah.
any goals before then you kind of just are bummed out because you're like, damn, I didn't hit my goal yet. I didn't hit my goal yet. And you're actually getting negative
Yeah.
feedback. You're actually feeling like, this might never happen. But if you break down that goal, say for example, to squat 500 pounds,
Yeah.
and maybe you're squatting right now, what's your max squat?
365 I can do for two.
So yeah, so say maybe you want to squat 500 pounds, which is a shit ton. I've never squatted 500 pounds, but that's a strong ass
Yeah.
squat. But if you think about, I want to squat 500, and then you just go into the gym and you're like, man, I can't even do four plates yet. You're gonna be bummed out.
Mhm.
But if you think
Yeah.
about, okay, I want to squat 500 by the time I graduate, and that's 135 pounds in 3 years. So let me break that down.
Yep.
How much do I need? I can need to put on 40 pounds in my squat per year. How many is that per month? Okay, that's about if I do 5 pounds a month, I'm gonna clear that goal. So
Yep.
then it's thinking, okay, I need to figure out how I can structure that. Okay, so I squatted 365 last time we max. Next time I'm going to shoot for whatever, 375, 385. and creating those short-term goals. But then how do I get there, right? That might be a monthly goal or maybe a quarterly goal. But before that, well, I need to make sure my nutrition's dialed in because for me to have my squat increased by a little bit to then hit my end goal or to play college football, I need to have a short-term goal. So my short-term goal is this week I need to hit all my training sessions. This week I need
Yep.
to hit all of my nutrition. And then daily I need to track my food. I need to watch my
Yep.
nutrition plan. I need to
My
have
sleeps are hell. Yeah.
yeah, my sleep's really good. I need to make sure that I have my clothes set up in the morning because I want to wake up and get out the door. Those
Hmm.
small little things. I need a journal. I need to make sure my mind is tapped in. I need to make sure I'm improving myself. I need to pray. I need to meditate. I need to read. You have all these short-term goals that are making you a better person. You're reading, if you're obsessed with squatting or lifting, I want to freaking, let me read about West Side Barbell. Let me read about
Yep.
Dave Tate. Let me read about John Meadows. Let me read about all these different people who are super strong, John Heck or Stan Efferding. Let me learn about this stuff.
Yeah.
So you create goals all around it, right?
Hmm.
And I think you've got to view yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, and you want to encompass your goal with all of that. So your goal should really hit all the three of those buckets, right? Physical,
Yeah.
spiritual, mental improvement. And then you want to do that daily, weekly, monthly, so you can have then goals for, okay, my step counts like this, my readings like this. And then you have
Hmm.
a reason why behind everything. Well, I'm walking because I want to burn body fat. I know if I'm a lower body fat, I have more testosterone. If I'm more testosterone, I can gain more muscle. If I can gain more muscle, I can hit my squat goal. I can go to play college football. So you can turn that into goals. And this is what I learned. I mean, I did this. I remember writing in junior year of high school.
Yeah.
I was going to go be a walk-on, play University of Buffalo. I was going to earn
Hmm.
a captain scholarship. I wrote down starter, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it would seem crazy, but you have the long-term goal and then you've got the goals
Yeah.
before then. I was tracking my food like back then,
Yeah.
2014. So, and this is just an example that I want to share because I had a goal that was big and I was able to accomplish it. And same thing with business. Like I wanted to
Yeah.
I wanted to help people as a nutritionist. I wanted to be able to support myself. In 3 months, I want to do XYZ and was able to do that. So being
Yep.
really clear with your goals is really important. Having really big goals is important. And then visualizing your goals. And this is something I'm really passionate about. So like visualizing your goal is seeing, I remember 2016, we played Army. We beat Army. I was a walk-on. I didn't travel to any games. But after
Yeah.
that, I visualized I went back to the field, right? We got pizza after the game. I went back to my dorm room. My family wasn't able to come to the game. I'm just hanging out, and there's a big party. I didn't drink, so I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna go back to the field and run a stadium. So I did the stadiums, did every step in the stadium, and then was on the field. I don't think I've ever shared this. I was on the field. I was
Yeah.
literally visualizing what it would feel like to pass pro on a 30-yard line. Okay, we're going in. We're entering red zone. Boo, 2-minute drill. Like I'm visualizing myself being a starter.
Yeah.
And you need to visualize yourself. And I was doing this a couple nights ago, just about future things I want to do in business and helping people is deeply, deeply visualizing this. And sometimes you can write it down. Sometimes you can do a voice memo. Sometimes you can just think about it and cover your eyes and meditate. There's many different strategies, and you can look on YouTube and other people for that. But visualizing your goal, feeling your goal, what does it feel like? And then when you visualize your goal and you feel your goal and you feel who you're becoming, your spirit is pulling you there. There's something deeper, deeper down in the nature of human beings that's pulling you to that goal. But then you feel that goal, you visualize that goal, but you know that person who accomplished that goal. So
Yep.
then you can almost tap in and you can talk to that person. I think you can talk to your future self as a mentor and say, "Hey,
Yep.
future Jack, what would I be, what should I really be doing? I know this is my goal. What would you be doing? You've already gotten there." And you can fucking talk to that person. You can talk to your future
Yep.
self, the future Arjun who's accomplished his goals, and he's going to tell you, man, yeah, I know you kind of want to go out and have a freaking garbage plate right now, but you're going to feel like crap in the morning for weightlifting.
Yeah.
So rather go out with your buddies, have meal prep before you're to go get a garbage plate after the game. So bring your freaking mock garbage plate with your buddies, with your
Hmm.
chicken, potatoes, whatever it is, and still
Yeah.
hang out with your friends, but do XYZ. And you can kind of think about that stuff and you don't have to come up with
Yep.
excuses because if you want to hit a goal, there are no excuses. There's only
Yeah.
freaking yes or no. Did you get it done? And there's always a way to do it. So I think
Yep.
that's how I'd like to visualize it. I think writing them down is super important.
Yep.
And I think as a man, something we want to understand is our goals can extend and our value only extends. So as a man, whether I'm 27 or you're 14, we are people who I really believe as men, your value is only increasing. And a lot of times guys get caught up in like this dooming culture where it's like, oh my gosh, I don't have a whatever business girlfriend. I didn't get
Yeah.
whatever it is. Like you start overthinking things and thinking life is just you're screwed. And you have to view yourself as investment. You're investing in yourself through
Hmm.
experiences, through learning, through relationships, talking
Look
with
at
really
where
good
you have
people.
come to, and then.
Yeah, you're
realize.
growing as a person, and you're
Yeah.
that growth, you don't have to rush that, but you have to do what you know is going to yield to growth, and take the chance to do something that maybe makes you uncomfortable. So the goals should make you uncomfortable a little bit. If they don't scare you, um, I'd be cautious of that. I think you should do something that if it kind of makes you feel nervous, that's probably, it's like talking to that hot girl. You should probably feel a little nervous because like
Yeah.
that means she's hot and you want to be with a hot girl. So like that's like
Yeah.
just an example, but like that's a good thing.
Hmm.
Um, and then getting used to that and sitting in that and being okay with that is really important for your goals. There was one other thing I was going to say, but that's really how I would like to structure them for people
Yeah.
and write them down, be firm about them. I think having a vision board or having kind of future goals and having those available. Like in my locker, I used to have in the
Mhm.
back of my locker my fucking goals.
Yeah.
1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 1 week, 2 month, everything's there. So I can just see it every day. Oh crap, yeah, I got to do
Yeah.
this. Or pictures of kind of what you want to accomplish. I used to write on my tape, some motive, like I just anything you can do to
Yeah.
get the edge. Like you should want to feel that edge all the time, man. So
Yep.
you need to be emotionally invested in what you're doing, and you're not always going to feel good. You're not always going
Yeah.
to feel motivated. You're not always going to want to fucking eat the clean food. And that's where you have to come back to realizing the purpose and the goal you have behind it and how it goes just deeper than you. Likelihood, it's I want to do this so I can help also these people. Like I really want to be able
Yep.
to be a positive influence or help teach people or whatever it may be. There's probably a likelihood and hopefully for people's goals is they're reaching a level but also helping other people. And that's a key part of the purpose and the why as well.
Yeah. And I think you gave one of the best examples. I know you talked about squat, and I came in last year, I was squatting, I was at 365, and I told myself I'd beat, I think it's Jake Molnich's record on the board. Yeah, I think he squatted five, I don't know, five over five something. And I was at 365 summer of last year, and I told myself, I just imagined myself, every single guy on the team around that squat rack. And that's what they did for me when I was PRing for 365. And I told myself, I visioned myself, I'm like, what is that mentality gonna be when I get that weight? And what is that mentality gonna be if I fail that weight? You know how much motivation goes down in that weight room, or you want to know how much motivation goes up in that weight room and how hyped those guys are when you get that weight up. And I still, because now I'm back to that weight.
Yeah.
So now I look at it, I still have that goal. I'm coming for Jake's record.
Let's
So
go.
I think I texted Marriott the same day that I got that 365. I texted him that I'm coming for the record, and I just vision myself each time I hit a PR. I just vision myself what it's gonna be like when I'm in junior year and I break that record, or when I'm in senior year and I break that record. So it really does come down to you have to see that record in your mind, or see that goal in your mind so you can accomplish it. Because if you don't know what your goal is, what are you going to? You're just running in mud.
Think about if you are lifting and you're like, okay, lat pull downs, I'm gonna hit 12 reps. You
Yeah.
hit 12 and you probably could have hit like 14, but you racked it at 12 because you set your mind to 12. So you kind of just hit that
Hmm.
number. So in life with your goals, okay, yeah, I want to do this. No, you want to do this. Like you got to up that. You got to like look at your
Yeah.
goal, make your goal, and then one up that goal.
Hmm.
And then extend the goal. Like, okay, I can do better than that. That's a simple goal. Extend yourself, and don't be afraid to be extraordinary. Don't be afraid to be different than people. Don't be afraid not to
Yep.
fit in. The top performers don't fit in.
No, they don't.
Like I don't. I'll be honest, man. It's tough to, I spent a lot of time with people and I'm very close with teammates, but it's not always easy to fit in seamlessly with
Yeah.
everybody. It's important to have relationships with people, but if you're trying to really be a top person, you want to bring people with you. You don't want to be like isolationist and be like, I'm the best person. You want to bring
Yeah.
people along with you. But sometimes initially, before maybe your performance on the field shows that you're elite, um, they don't always
People aren't
hop
gonna
on
want to come
board with
with you.
you. And then when
Yeah.
when you're fucking all conference, this year or next year, whatever, then people are like, oh,
Yeah.
Arjun, yo, can you tell me what to eat for lunch? Can you freaking,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? How do I recover from this injury? But the results are important. So you have to have the results. You got to prove yourself. And
Hmm.
something to be cautious of with goals is to be cautious of sharing goals. There's something called the
Yeah.
observer effect. And the observer effect is kind of a theory. I remember I've heard Frederick Dodson talk about this with a friend of mine, Jack Moses, on his podcast and other people.
Hmm.
And there's kind of other beliefs because it's kind of the mind where the mind goes, the body will follow and see it, believe it, achieve it. And some people think about manifesting and sharing it and putting it out there, like Conor McGregor
Yeah.
and other types of people. And then
It's
other
all
people like
about
to
the
keep it
Instagram
private.
story. It's all about the TikTok story.
Yeah, but sometimes it's okay to share it if you're that confident
Yeah.
because it almost pressurizes you to follow through on something you shared because it's
Yeah.
like, am I going to follow through my word? So it's a different type of self-pressure that not everyone can deal with. I think it can. Like I'm technically doing it saying I'm going to cut. You're technically, you know what I mean? We're technically kind of sharing
Yeah.
goals, but being cautious, especially initially upon it, is when you share a goal with people, most people don't understand your goals. They don't understand you. Only you understand
No.
you. Even
Yeah.
me, I don't understand fully. I want to understand the best I can, but only you understand you fully. So the goal has to be solid within you. Somebody can't make you do a goal. This is why I like to ask people goals before I tell them what their goals should be. I want to ask their short,
Yeah.
medium, long-term goals before I ever ask because I want to know. I don't want to put something in your brain that's not even you.
Yeah.
Um, so be cautious of sharing them. And many people will be negative. It's often, sometimes people will be negative because they have goals and they haven't reached their goals or they haven't even attempted to reach their goals.
So
So
they
then
don't
they're
want
going to
you to
downplay.
reach their
Yeah, they're going
goals.
to downplay your goals, and maybe they're, and it oftentimes negativity from others is a reflection of their internal state. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's this is another great book, The Four Agreements, and this is part of it is not taking things personal. And this is something, especially as an athlete, you have to realize you're the man in the arena. You cannot take everything personal just because
Your
somebody
coach is going
says,
to yell at you at this time. Your coach is going to
yeah,
humiliate you maybe in front of the whole crowd,
somebody's going
but
to
you
talk
can't
shit to
take it
you.
personal. Yeah.
Somebody's going to talk shit to you in a game, in a practice, and it's okay to get fired up. I used to get fired up. I got in plenty of fights and stuff, but like
Yeah.
but that's okay to get fired up. But be cautious of sharing your goals. If you have a purpose and you're fired up, good. Um, but just be cautious of that because
Mhm.
initially, if you talked and you told everyone what you were going to do, I'm going to increase more carbs. I'm going to lose 30 pounds. I'm going to increase my
Now they're
squat.
going to try doing it too.
But if you told
Sometimes.
people
Yeah.
3 months ago, they're probably, what the heck are you doing? Like, it's like, there's no, this is crazy. So be careful of that. I think sometimes with goals, it's get that snowball rolling. And then there's an interesting thing about the goal setting is when you set the goal and then you realize, okay, I need to go to the goal, you realize, oh shit, this is a big goal. This is going to take like, it's that valley of despair. Alex Hormozy talks about this. You set the goal and
Mhm.
then you know where it is, and that valley of despair is like, oh, this is gonna take a lot of work, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to be there for myself. And initially, usually like the first half of your goal, most people don't realize it. So you're kind of putting in the work. You're on a solo mission. You're on that fucking lonely chapter, son. And then
Yeah.
you keep putting it in, and then people start to see, oh, this guy's got something about him. Some kind of this discipline, this aura, this
Yeah.
confidence, there's something about this. And then people start to feel it. And then when people start to feel it, they want to take it. They want to understand it. And that's where you have to be really careful about falling off because that's where a
Mhm.
lot of people fall off is they start to get there and then people start to say, "Oh, nice job, nice job. You're looking leaner. You're looking good. You look a little stronger. You're eating good. Why don't you
Now
have
they're
a
like,
slice of this
oh, maybe
pizza?"
people don't care anymore. They're always going to think I'm always going to look like
Yeah,
this.
but it's easy to fall off, man. You can't
Yeah.
fall off. And
Super
this
easy.
is like you can't fall off. This is why where you have to really discipline. You've got to stay
Hmm.
in there. And that's where the daily habits and daily goals and weekly goals are really important because you might have hit a medium term one, you might be on your way and then you fall off. And it's important you always you remind yourself the ego, your ego wants to say, "Oh, it's good enough. You're good. You're good. You don't
Yeah.
worry about it." And you've got to just freaking hang in there and realize there's more within you. And those daily practices, I cannot emphasize them enough because I've fallen off of them plenty of times,
Yeah.
just like other people. I've fallen off when man, I didn't meditate today and I said I was going to meditate today. I didn't read today and I said I was going to read today. I didn't track my food today and I said I was going to track my food today. I didn't call my brother today and I said I was going to call my brother today. And then guess what? Now I'm not as good in my calls coaching people. I'm not as good in the gym, or maybe I don't follow through on XYZ. And when you don't follow through on your own word, when you break the word to yourself, that's the worst thing
It
you can
is.
do
Yeah.
because then you're going to break the word for everybody else. You're not gonna have that integrity, and I can't emphasize how important that is
Hmm.
for creating goals and having that integrity, man. That's what a man is. And if you're watching this
Integrity. Yeah.
and you want to be a freaking strong man, physically, mentally, spiritually, integrity is a core value of that. And having those daily practices is how you really shape that every day. And it's hard,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's worth it.
Yeah. And I really love how you said the part of like, you got to have that integrity for yourself. Like, I have that goal of I'm going to journal every day. I'm going to read every day. It's the read 10 pages every day and journal what you did the whole day. So you miss that one day, you miss it the next day, and you miss it the day after.
And if you
If
fall
that
off,
goal,
you got to
yeah,
come back. Just come
you
back.
got to come back. Yeah.
It's like
And
it's
if that,
okay. It's okay
yeah,
if you do like it's not okay like hey, keep doing it. But it's like hey, you're human. I've fallen off. I'm sure you have before. Everyone
yeah,
has. But what's important is not if you fall, but how you get the fuck back up, right? It's just
yeah,
like some rocky shit, but it's real. You got to get back up. Everyone's gonna mess
no,
up. You might not hit your max. You might have one day, had some crappy food, missed your
hmm
journaling, missed your meditations, whatever it is. You might have woken up late and missed first period or work or whatever. And
yeah,
you got to come back and you got to be like, you know what? I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to be better. I'm going to
yep,
be the athlete. I'm going to watch the tape. I'm going to watch the tape on myself. Why did I not journal? Why did I wake up late? Why did I not eat what I was supposed to eat? Did I not have the food in the house? Did I not allocate time? Was I spend too much on my phone? Find the reason why. Don't just blame
yeah,
yourself and feel shameful, but why, what happened? How did it happen? What led to this happening?
hmm
Solve the root cause, not the symptom. So the root cause of whatever your issue may be, eating crappy food, not working out, it's not that you're lazy. It goes deeper than that. What's the time frame that's not being allocated, whatever it may be. So I think that's a huge aspect too. Is you're going to fall off the horse sometimes, but how do you get back on, and how do you keep yourself back on, and how do you learn from falling off?
yeah. And you're not, it's like that horse. Um, you're gonna ride, you're gonna crash your bike once, but you're never gonna stop riding your bike for the rest of your life. You're gonna get on, you're gonna relearn how to do it. You're gonna learn what you did wrong. You're gonna learn why you did it wrong, why you missed it. So, and especially this comes down to athletes, a big thing for athletes and men, um, players in high school, college. You're gonna have goals for the season. You're gonna have full year goals, and you are gonna probably, like you said, you're gonna probably go off the rails here and there. But you need to stay on that track if you want to reach that goal.
Yeah, you do. And if you're sending it for a big goal,
Mhm.
and one of my brother Matt, he played at Columbia. He played football
Yeah,
there, and he was a lineman. And his coach would say something. It was something about the rodeo, but it was like everyone, all the cowboys, you're all gonna ride the rodeo, and you're all gonna fall off, but you got to get back on. Like it's part of being in the rodeo. It's part of setting big
yeah,
goals. Is you have high expectations for yourself. So
no,
that's good. You should have high expectations for yourself. That means you're striving forward. If you're blessed enough to be healthy and have goals, whatever it may be, it doesn't even have to be athletic. You might have
yeah,
goals academically, you might have goals work-wise, you might have goals, who knows what, to be a farmer or whatever it may be, whatever your goal is,
yeah,
whatever you feel, not that social media told you, not that your teacher told you, not that your parents told you, what goal actually you feel internally. And sometimes it's a weird one. Because if I told people years ago what I'm doing now, it's like, what the heck?
yeah,
You got your degree in business or whatever it may be. Like you're supposed to be
yeah,
whatever. You're supposed to be a football coach or
yeah.
freaking sales or whatever it may be. So it's okay. But it's trust that gut within you, and take
hmm
time alone, take time to really internalize it, take time to think on it. I think another thing about goals too is if you're thinking about what my goals are, I think sleep journaling can be really cool.
Yeah.
And this is kind of a way into understanding dream states. I think dreams are really important. So ask yourself a question before you go to bed. How can I be better? Or maybe it's just like, whatever situation it is. Should I talk to this girl? Who knows? Um, but there's an interesting question you can always ask yourself. And then I think in dreams you can sometimes get the answer
hmm
and
Then when you wake
that
up,
and then journal when you wake up. What did you dream
yeah,
about? And journal right away. And I think that's a huge practice that
yeah,
is often overlooked that I'll have to talk more about. Because
hmm
lucid dreaming, eventually you can lucid dream and you can kind of have control. You
do a
know
little
you're in a
thing.
dream
Yeah,
and you're aware of it. And then you
yeah,
can learn. And I think there's a lot to be said about things there
hmm
because you can almost dream of your goals, which is a cool way to
It is kind of cool. Yeah,
see the reality.
yeah. And there was a quote I think that kind of leads to almost everything we've talked about today, and it's kind of you have to learn to love the process to get to your goal. So I think there was a guy who played who's a kicker for us I think a few years ago. He's not playing at a Big Ten school. He said it in a podcast he did. So, and I really strive on that. Well, you can't hate to, you can't hate the process to get to what you want to do. That means you don't want to that means that goal's not meant for you. So you got to learn to love it. You got to learn to, embrace it.
And I would highly recommend, and this is something I didn't do enough that I would recommend,
Mhm.
is celebrating the small wins.
Yeah.
you know and celebration doesn't, and typically, right, celebration always involves partying, alcohol, bad food, but celebration doesn't have to be that. Celebration can just be hanging out with your family, eating good food, or hanging out with your friends,
Yeah.
or just being satisfied with yourself. Like sometimes I'll high five myself and be like, you know what, Jack, freaking ate all the food today, ate all everything
Yeah.
you're supposed to eat, did all the things you're supposed to do, like high, like good job, like that was just a good
Yeah.
day. And it's like, and I just kind of chuckle because it's like it's funny. It's
Yeah.
like a funny thing to do,
Yeah.
but it's like a real
But you
thing.
feel
Like
happy. Yeah.
you're allowed to celebrate your success. Like, okay, I did well. I did what I was supposed to do. Man, that's good. Like, you don't have to be like, all right, now on to the next day. I'm just another day of
Mhm.
suffering. No, you can, no, you
Yeah.
don't have to think that way.
It's not
You
how
can,
it works. Yeah.
yeah, like you don't have. You can be like, hey, I lifted today. I ate well. I studied. Like, and this is my long-term goal, and I'm moving on my way there. Like, this is pretty dang cool. I'm
Hmm.
improving. I'm happy about that. That's a cool thing. So don't feel bad about celebrating those small wins or a good practice or, you know, aim. Like those are all might not be the end goal, but if you don't enjoy the process to it, you're gonna look at your end goal and get there and be like, shit, I didn't enjoy this
Yeah.
process enough, man. So I would
Yeah.
really recommend that. Some of the
Yeah. And I
best times
think,
of hard times when you look back.
yeah. And I think a college coach mentioned this when I actually visited one of them, and it was we're not gonna celebrate every practice if it was a good practice. We're gonna celebrate the practices that were better than the days. Then let's say we had a shitty practice the day before. We're gonna celebrate the next day, and we're gonna make sure that day is a good practice, and we're gonna get the team a little riled up. We're gonna be proud of what we did the next day because we were horrible the day before. And this kind of comes through like even as athletes in a season, you're gonna celebrate wins. You're not gonna leave a win in the dust and be like, "Oh, we just won. Yeah, we're 8-0, and now we're just aiming for the state championship." And then you're gonna kick yourself, and you're gonna be super upset when you don't get to that state championship.
Yeah, just keep it one day at a time. Have the
Yeah.
goals, but understand that you only get to the goals by accomplishing your daily goals. So you
Yeah.
only get to your long-term goal if you accomplish your daily goal. If you don't accomplish your daily
Yes.
goal and your weekly goal and your monthly goal and your short-term, medium-term goals, you don't get to your long-term goal. So
Yep.
those are just as important and if not more important. And sometimes if you're nailing your daily, your weekly, your monthly goals, you might even expand your longer term goals. You might even realize that the compounding effect of hitting these goals will lead to getting to a long term bigger goal. So you have to expand your goal. And that's a pretty damn cool part of the process. And it's out
Yeah.
there if you're doing it the right way. So aside from that, man, I think we freaking killed it today. Any
We
other
did. Yeah.
questions or
No,
anything
I think
on
that's
your
I
end?
think we covered anything. Yeah, covered
Epic.
everything.
So
Yeah.
good, man. Well, we'll have to do another episode before you start the season.
For
Um,
sure.
and it's been a blast. So everyone give Arjun a follow on Instagram. I'll link your stuff and Twitter and all
Appreciate
of
it.
that. It's getting after
Yeah.
it, getting ready for Pittsburgh football,
Yes, sir.
who I'll be rooting on,
Right.
my alma mater. Let's go. And it'll be a fun season this year. So excited to see you guys
Sure.
get
Yeah.
after it. If you're watching till the end, thank you. I'll be aiming to put this on all the audio platforms.
Hmm.
By the end of June for sure, but probably by the end of the week. And if you got questions or things in the future that you'd like to be covered, make sure you leave it in a comment or send an email or direct message to one of us. And if
Yeah.
you like help, if you're an athlete and you want help like Arjun getting lean or gaining weight, help people with both, or just improving body composition,
Yeah.
being a better athlete,
Definitely.
mentally, physically, spiritually, I've got my intake form, which I'll link in the bio as well. Feel free to send that in. And I'm taking on a few new people, so I'm happy to help. Aside from that, my man, thank you for joining. Thank you for hopping on.
I
And
appreciate you. Thank
yes,
you.
sir. I'll end the recording now. Thanks, everybody.
See you guys.
See ya.